Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah. Waalaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to each and everyone for being here at this wonderful event. My name is Indra Fajar Alamsyah, and I am here with Dr. Gugi Susandi.
Yes.
Inshallah, we will guide you during this event. Let me begin by giving you a warm and welcoming for all of you to being here, and also we will start with recite Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before we get started, I would like to express my appreciations to the Hilmi committees and the crew who generously helped us make this seminar come true. We could not have done it without you. And also thank you for all the respectable speakers today. And today we will talk about the contributions of Muslim intellectuals in resolving national and global challenges. And we have Professor Dr. Alimuddin from Universitas Sultan Agung Tirtayasa. And we have Professor Diding Suhandi from Universitas Lampung, Indonesia. We have Professor Dr. Budi Jatmiko, the Chairman of RTC, or Private Higher Education Associations. We have Professor Dr. Elsawi Abdul Rahim from Egypt, and also Mr. Adnan Khan from United Kingdom. And the last, we have Dr. Abdul Rafai from United States of America. Well, I do not want to take too much of your time. I need to hand over it now. We have a welcoming speech from our Supervisory Board, Professor Dr. Fahmi Amhar. Please, Professor Fahmi.
Distinguished scholars, respected participants, and honorable guests, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
It is a great honor for me to stand before you today as we inaugurate the International Conference of Islamic Civilization, a gathering that transcends borders, both physical and virtual, to explore the theme the contribution of Muslim intellectuals in resolving national and global challenges. As we convene in the beautiful city of Bandung, Indonesia, we are connected to minds and hearts across the globe, reflecting the interconnectedness that defines our modern world. Islamic civilization has always been a beacon of knowledge, compassion, and progress. Throughout history, Muslim intellectuals have illuminated the path forward in various fields, leaving an indelible mark on science, art, philosophy, and governance. Today, as we navigate a complex landscape of challenges, both on a national and global scale, it is only fitting that we draw inspiration from the legacy of these visionary minds. The conference theme is a poignant reminder that the challenges we face are not confined by geographical borders. From environmental crisis to economic disparities, from social injustice to technological disruptions, these issues are universal in nature and require a collective effort for resolutions. The teaching of Islam emphasizes empathy, justice, and the pursuit of knowledge, providing us with a roadmap to address these challenges in a holistic manner. As we gather in Indonesia, a nation known for its rich diversity and cultural harmony, we witness the power of unity amidst differences. Indonesia stands as a shining example of how a nation can draw strength from its heritage while embracing the possibilities of the future. By integrating the teaching of Islam that promote tolerance, dialogue, and cooperation, Indonesia embodies the potential of peaceful coexistence. Today's hybrid events, which unites us both physically and virtually, exemplifies the global reach of Islamic civilizations. Scholars, researchers, and thinkers from various corners of the world have come together to share their insight, experience, and solutions. This convergence of minds enabled by modern technology underscore the universality of the challenges we face and the importance of collaborations in finding meaningful solutions. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to the organizer who have tirelessly worked to make this conference a reality. Your dedications reflects the significance of creating platforms for the exchange of ideas and knowledge. I also commend the scholars and participants who have joined us from around the world, both in person and through digital connections, to contribute to this intellectual discourse. In conclusions, let this International Conference of Islamic Civilization serve as testament to the enduring legacy of Muslim intellectuals. May the discussion and ideas that emerge guide us in addressing the multifaceted challenges of our time. By harnessing the wisdom of the past and the capabilities of the present, we can shape a future that upholds the values of justice, compassion, and progress for all. Thank you, and may this conference be a resounding success. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, we just share the welcoming speech from our supervisory board, Professor Dr. Fahmi Amhar. Inshallah, we are going forward to the next sessions. We have our first speaker. He is Professor Dr. Ali Nudin, and he is a professor in electrical engineering. So please, Professor Ali Nudin, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil mursalin sayyidina wa sahbihi ajmain ma ba'd. Honorable all speaker this conference, International Conference Islamic Civilization, honorable all participant in this conference. I would like to present my title, opportunities and challenges for the development science and technology in Indonesia. Outline material, the first introduction, the second problem and challenges in the development of science and technology in Indonesia. The third, what is the road on the problem? Four, what are the fundamental and technical solutions to overcome this problem from the Islamic perspective? The next, conclusion. The first introduction is the time Allah has created man and put him in our man trace and satisfy and needs with the material created in the universe around him, as well as trying and maintain his security, sovereignty, and survival, whether in case is of a that defensively using the science and technology around him when human carry out observation, identification, experiment, and products analyzed into knowledge as well as human innovate in technology until the process of making system toward industrialization. Introduction of technology. I think we can now technology is compressed the products and process created by engine to meet our needs and wants. In science, science is to the study of the nature around. The complete science follow 5 main steps: observation, identification, hypothesis, and experiment. Scope science and technology, it can now the different. Technology study of our human world. deal with what will be a science study of our natural world, deal with what is. The next, we can now the development of science and technology. The first, the emerging technology, manufacturing, energy, finance, commerce, and agriculture, and also the industry 4.0, through intelligence, big data, and so on. Autonomous system in science and technology are part, again, the autonomous system, all the smart environment, security and safety, smart community, smart mobility, smart living, and so on. Next, the global issue, renewable energy, technical potential in Indonesia also, because many resources in Indonesia, hydropower, geothermal, ocean, and wind, and so on. And also development the automated farming is service, again the agriculture, and so on. Problem in science and technology development in Indonesia, one, funding limitation. Development is science and technology record sustainable fund for research, infrastructure, training and innovation. Despite effort in increase to budget in this area, there are still limited funding this hinder programs. Two, infrastructure limitation. Inadequate research and technology infrastructure, including laboratory facilities and access to modern equipment, can hinder the development of research of innovation. Three, the number of collaboration between academic, ABG, is still decreasing. Brand term also, many Indonesian experts still stay in abroad. Technology startup development is limitation, and also complex regulation. For example, not substantive, but many administration, the business, this country. What's the problem for development science and technology? Any two development country. This is the main problem, the root cause the problem, and also the capitalism system, because the limited, the funding, the complex regulation, and so on. Consequences, the limitation, external dependency, all, the regulation. The next, the role capitalism state controlling industry, the field science and technology. Number one, conducting studies or research to find the few and decision maker in our countries, and they supported the industry and this stake and completion. Number two, find countries in various types industry, they hand with their energies and time and create them the luxury to keep them away from hard and diligent and creating heavy industry over the intermediate industry, and this are clear from the structure industry our countries. This is opportunity, the challenge, and in the development science and technology, and the manufacturing, and the finance service, and commerce, and also the urban planning and energy. What the fundamental solution development science and technology from the Islamic perspective? Fundamental solution, we can now we must move within Islamic system. The individual, community, and state, and also the main fundamental solution Islamic state. Result, the funding, enough and independent. what is the technical solution, development industry and technology from the Islamic perspective? That the real manufacturing means revolting against foreign influence, and plus therefore the political method cannot be established except by the intellectual ideologies basis adopted by our political leadership. It means the Islam should be the basis, the political leadership with structuring ummah around the and revival every ummah the basis. Therefore, only the Muslim land in the Islamic state until they recur manpower and raw material as well and energy resource become the available in this state. Number two, the industry must be established in the basis of warfare, so that military industry would be the basis of the manufacturing as well as other industrial sector, and without the military industry, the state they have the department industry or Islamic state. Conclusion, the interest now and the contact with the dependency as Western countries politics, legislation and economic manufacturing and the material Islamic system when the is established will seek not only the end the dependency but to the top the influential country the world and will instigate heavy manufacturing and quickly and possible. The establishment, the role of Allah industrialize a country will add strength to strength and will shorten the time required for the compensation of heavy manufacturing in the state of Islamic, Allah willing. A vital nation like the Islamic Ummah.
It means that if the state or individual can get enough food, just enough food, in a certain time, so without any restriction, yeah, they can get food easily, yeah, in one time, in 1 day, 2 day, and etc. So it means that individual or that country can be said as secure in food, regardless where is the food coming from, domestic production or import. So food security is just a simple way like that. So food security is different with food sovereignty. So sovereignty, of course, we have to get the food by ourselves, yeah, by ourselves, not importing from other countries, for example. Not possible? Not yet. Okay, so actually, in the recent situation, yes, it's challenging. I have to memorize all my slides. Okay. We have four fundamental aspects to evaluate, to make scoring of food security. The first one is food availability, food accessibility. The third one is food stability, and the last one is the food utilization. So the important one that we have to consider is about first one, food availability. Oh, Alhamdulillah. Finally, okay. Yeah. Okay, I think yes, that is the okay. Next the outline. Yes, as actually food security. So higher food security index means that yes, the better situation of food security in that country. So the opposite one is the global hunger index. So the global hunger index is the opposite of food security. If the food security is higher, so it means the global hunger index will be lower. So because global hunger index related to the calculation of the level of hunger. Yes, because one aspect in the food security is the food availability, then and accessibility. So that's why if we see that in the 2022, the global hunger index Indonesia is ranked number 77 from 121 countries. Yes, it's moderate. Next. How about the food security score of Indonesia? So in Asian countries, we have, yes, in this condition right now. So we have, Indonesia is lower than, of course, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam. So Singapore actually, yes, mostly import. So that's why in food security is not a problem. Where is the food coming from? Yes, mostly Singapore import. But Indonesia actually is irony, because Indonesia actually have a potential to fulfill the food affordability. But right now, so Indonesia is number 4. Why it's happened? Next. So actually, it is our population situation. So in 2023, we have, yes, positive growth rate. So almost population is increasing. Growth rate is a little bit decreasing, increase, decrease, and non-decreasing little, but the all population is increasing. So in 2020, we have about 270 million people to need food. But, you know, actually, in the current situation, our government only calculate the number of population and the food we have to provide to feed this population. Next. This is why it's always they show to our government always calculate how about the availability of food. The red one is the availability, the need, and then the green one is the what we have to provide, because less than there is the difference between the stock and the need. So we have to import. So almost import. So our government from regime to regime always think the easy way to provide the food for our people by import, because it's also make some yes something behind the import strategy. Yeah. Because especially when they think about the cost of the politics recently, so importing food is easy to get money. That's why always like this. So most food must be import. This is a problem. Next. Actually, Indonesia and most Asian countries, the step to consider most about rice. So it is the rice situation in Indonesia from year to year, from 2010 to 2019. Its cultivated area, its production, productivity, rice equivalent. So actually, we can see what's the government done so far with our rice situation. For example, in the cultivated area, you can see we need, of course, land for increase our food production, especially rice. But you can see the cultivating area from 2010 decrease, and now we have like this. So the growth is minus. So it means that, of course, the import food must be increasing, because, yes, the cultivated area is decreasing, no more land. And then the production, you can see, production, of course, because the cultivated area decrease, the price, of course, decrease. However, the productivity increase. Please be aware with this productivity, because productivity is higher because maybe mostly we put many fertilizer, many pesticides, something like that. So what happened in the 10, 20, 30 years later? It will be very dangerous for our environment. No more productive. So that's why I will show you many critical land happens in Indonesia. Okay, next. So, not only rice, maize, soybean, peanut, mung bean, cassava, sweet potato, almost not so many difference from 2014 to 2018. So, what have the of our government, especially our Ministry of Agriculture, because they actually their main task is to provide enough food for our people. Next. This is actually the top 10 paddy production province. What is the interesting one? This one. The top 3 is in Java Islands. In Java. So for us, is Java, West Java, Central Java. This all in Java. Also Banten. So Java Islands contribute very importantly to provide rice, because rice is the most food in Indonesia. Next. But you can see, here is the situation in Java. In Java, the agricultural land degradation is increasing. Yes, I have not yet shown the scientific here, the scientific proof about this. I just capture from from the newspaper. But I think the main reason for the agriculture and land degradation is the excessive use of fertilizer and pesticide, chemical fertilizer. So that's why in Java, so many critical land happen. But ironically, in some area in Java, many unproductive land is increasing. Ya, lahan apa? Menganggur, lahan tidur. Ya. So also in East Java, in West Java. So it's hard to increase food production in Java Island. It's very hard. That's why That's why from 2003, our government, Soeharto regime, start to food estate. So food estate, the first food estate in 2003, open the project lahan gambut (PLG) in this 4 district, and then reopen in 2020. But yes, many reports show that it's failed. Not completely failed, but the result is not expected as we want to increase the food to provide the population, the increasing population in Indonesia. Next. Okay, not only the food production is a problem in our country, but also food accessibility. This is the easy way to understand the food accessibility. You can see that, yes, this part, Papua, is big different with other part. So in this part, limited access to due to unaffordable price, because the price of food is very expensive. maybe 4 times or 5 times compared to other parts in Indonesia. And also poor, distribution, and also high poverty because they have no any money and then they cannot buy. Yeah. Actually, food can be transported to this area, but because the transportation is very expensive, so the price of food itself is increased. So that's why more people, mostly the people cannot cannot afford the price of the food. Yes, next. Next. Yes, this is the disparity of price in Indonesia. You can see same product price and same quality. So the price disparity is very high. In Papua Barat is the expensive one. Yes, mostly in Java, mostly we can say that this is the national price, but in Papua is maybe 4 times, 5 times than the national price we have to afford for the same food. Next. Yes. And the third one about the food security is also about stability. Yes, stability means that actually the state have to make sure that the food is available in certain time. Yes, as long as the stability can be kept, the best one. So I mean that if the country can make sure, can provide the food as long as possible for 10 years, from 20 years, something like that. So stability is food stocking. And also, how, of course, also with the situation in our country with high humidity, high temperature, so mostly agriculture products is easy to be deteriorate. So it's perishable product. So that's why it's also a problem with storage. For example, maybe 20% of our food is lost. Next. This is interesting that the recent situation about the climate change, including El Nino, also influence the stability of our food. So, yes, the strong states with strong food security, they have to think about the future. What will happen in the future? What kind of disaster will happen? What kind of war will happen? How many food we have to provide? I think maybe in our government, with the current situation, it's very difficult to think about the next maybe 10 years or next 20 years. But in the, for example, I have one lecture in Japan when I was there. Japan is very dependent to gas from Indonesia, because mostly maybe about 62% of the electricity is coming from gas burner, gas. So I asked where they buy the gas from Indonesia, and already keep for 50 years. So 50 years. So they already keep the necessity of the gas for their country for 50 years. Now in Lampung, I sometimes cannot buy 3 kilograms gas. It's very difficult because no gas. But in Japan, they already keep for 50 years. Next. And also about the next, the food. Yeah. Yes, it is very interesting that in the utilization, many of our food, yeah, cannot be utilized properly because of this one. First one is the adulteration. So many of, because in food security, the government not only provide food, but healthy food, safe food, nutritious food, and halal food, of course. Because the preference in Indonesia, the preference is Muslim. So Muslim must only eat halal food. That's why, yes, in the utilization, the government must provide not only, yes, this is actually really happen in Indonesia. Yeah, it's honey. Pure and fake honey is very difficult to be differentiated because I got my professorship from this tema. So if no one adulterate honey, maybe I cannot be professor. So thanks for the fake honey. Next. And next. Yes. Actually, for the explanation, we can understand why we still inferior comparing to Singapore, for example. Yeah. Singapore is very weak in natural resources, but they have many options to provide food by import, by, yes, barter, something like that. But Indonesia, we have natural resources, but it's not belong to us, belong to company. And company provide us food, but we have to buy that food. And so this is the problem, why we are now still inferior comparing to small country, but they have map to secure the food. So from now, I want to show you how our contribution as Muslim scholar to propose to not only food security, but also food sovereignty. First is about land. Land is very important because land is the central of food production. Why our government trying to open food estate in Kalimantan? Because we need land. Actually, land is available, but the land ownership and utilization is not governed by Islamic rule, for example. Islamic rule, for example, is very simple. Man ahya ardon maitatan fayalahu. So, if no one cultivate, no one do nothing with the land after 2 years, so anyone can use that land to increase, to provide food, because actually food can be increase from food security to food sovereignty. We have to provide our food by ourselves, and the center is agriculture. So agriculture is the key important we have to consider. You know, in Japan, just they graduate from undergraduate school, the government offer 1 or 2 years salary. Every month will get salary from government. Your task is only what? Please do as a farmer. Everything provided by the government. You need land, government provide the land. Provide the materials, seed, everything provide freely. Please just be a farmer. 1 year, 2 is okay. How to provide the needs? They provide salary. Because now the aging problem happen. No more farmers in Japan decreasing because age. And they think that agriculture is important. Rice is not, currently is not staple food in Japan. Of course, they still eat rice, but maybe only this one. Only small one rice, enough. compared to me, I have to eat rice. But their production of rice is very high, because they keep agriculture. It's very important. But in our country, many people want to be farmer, but they need land. So that's why I think we can propose to our government that Sharia rule is very easy. Yeah. So many unproductive land can be replaced, can be used by our farmer to provide their self food. Next. Yes, this is the food accessibility. Actually, in Rakornas Zakat, they calculate that the potential zakat is about 400 trillion rupiah. 400 trillion. If we take zakat from Muzaki, but because zakat is not obligation in our country, it is option. So that's why recently only 21 trillion rupiah. It's about less than 6% or 5 to 6% only. Potential of zakat. Because if we can get this from zakat, I think yes, the limitation of, because in every society the poverty is happen. So someone or some people cannot afford the price because they have no money. But with zakat, we can solve this problem. We can distribute the zakat to fulfill food for poor people. In Islamic rule, zakat is an obligation for Muzaki and an obligation for the government to take the zakat, not wait and then it's option. It's obligation. So even if someone Muzaki, after calculating the zakat, deny to pay the zakat, the government can punish. With this Sharia rule, I think not only 400 trillion, maybe more than that, the potential zakat in Indonesia. And it's big money. Yeah. And this big money also can be as stimulate to increase our food security. Next, I think this is the last one. So as a conclusion, that we can say that the current situation shows that food security is a big challenge in Indonesia. Yeah. And then the government has no clear strategy. So for what I show you, that the government year to year has no clear strategy to improve the situation of the availability, accessibility, stability, as well as the utilization of food to secure our food. And then the last, of course, the implementation of Sharia have potential to improve the food security. That's just two examples. Yes, we have so many Sharia Islamic rule that can be proposed to improve the food security. So this hopefully as our contribution to our society. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, we just hear about our second speaker, Professor Dr. Diding Suhandi. Now we are going forward to the next speaker, and we have hybrid professor from Benha University, Egypt. His name is Professor Dr. Elshawi Ahmed Abdurrahim. His current position, he is a professor of Islamic philosophy at Faculty of Arts and Benha University, and he also coordinator at International Relations for East Asian countries at Benha University. So we are really sorry, we are not underestimating your Arabic skill. I believe all of you can speak Arabic, but but I don't believe about your mufradat or something like that. So that's why we invite Dr. Tubagus Khairu from Pajajaran University We directly invited him, and welcome Dr. Tubagus. Assalamualaikum. Alhamdulillah, we have the translator because Professor Al-Sawi will speak in Arabic. So the mic is ready?
نعم.
Okay. Oh, naam. Inshallah. Okay, inshallah.
Oh ya.
Yang di Zoom udah.
يا مولانا الأستاذ
Dr. Tubagus.
نعم الأستاذ الصاوي قال لي لسنا أن تؤتي المحاضرة حوالي 15 لو سمحتم يا مولانا تفضل. هل عندكم ما في صوت يا مولانا؟
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام. مرحبا يا مولانا. نعم.
أين البرزنتيشن؟ أنا عارض يعني أريد عرض البرزنتيشن المحاضرة.
نعم تفضل الآن الوقت.
تم تعليمه. خليكي معي أنت. فين ما هو كيف؟ يا أستاذ أين المحاضرة؟ أنتم لا تقبلون في عرض البرزنتيشن.
تفضل يا مولانا أن تؤتي المحاضرة الآن.
أيوة أنا جاهز. اسمع
نعم.
أنا أريد في برزنتيشن أريد أن أعرضه. اسمح لي أن أعرض البرزنتيشن. كانش بقى هاتليش.
Tapi di sini nggak ada ini. All aja.
طب ازاي؟ يا أستاذ
نعم.
اسمح لي عرض البرزنتيشن.
نعم.
بتاعي.
سمحتم. تفضل.
فين؟
يجوز. نعم يجوز.
ايوه.
نعم الحمد لله رب العالمين. تفضل يا مولانا.
الحمد لله.
الحمد لله.
بس انا بقى فين كده؟
نعم تفضل.
ما فيش هي عندي. لحظة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
أولا بداية أشكركم جميعا وأشكر القائمين على المؤتمر الدولي للحضارة الإسلامية، وأكرر شكري للصديق العزيز
الموسع.
نعم
الموسع هذه المحاضرة الصورة الموسع. نعم لو سمحتم.
نعم ماذا تريد؟
لكي نرى موسع.
لحظة.
نعم. نعم.
هل الصوت؟
نعم الآن
هكذا؟
نعم واضح يا مولانا.
نعم.
نعم واضح.
هو عاوزين بص كده باينه باين عندنا. واكرر شكري طبعا للصديق الدكتور فهمي لقمان على دعوته لي، ويعني انا سعيد جدا بلقاء اليوم بكما، ويعني مصر واندونيسيا يعني انا كتبت فيها كتاب يعني مصر واندونيسيا مشاعر متبادله. طبعا عنوان محاضرتي دور الإسلام في بناء حضارة عظيمة ونبيلة. نعم. نحن نعرف جميعا أن هناك الكثير من الحضارات، لكل عصر وكل مكان له حضارته، مثل الحضارة سبأ، الحضارة الفارسية وحضارة فارس، الحضارة اليونانية، الحضارة المصرية القديمة، الحضارة الصينية، كل هذا هناك حضارات متعددة. وجاء الإسلام وهناك الحضارات السابقة عليه، كان للإسلام أيضا حضارته الخاصة والمتميزة، والتي تتميز عن الكثير من الحضارات. لماذا سنقول يعني هناك لماذا تميزت الحضارة الإسلامية عن الحضارات السابقة عليها واللاحقة بالعديد من الخصائص والمميزات؟ يعني أهم يعني الملامح التي سأتحدث عنها.
نعم حديث.
مصدر. نعم.
تفضل استمر.
طيب. لذلك أسهمت الحضارة الإسلامية في بناء الكثير من الإنسانية أو الإنسانية بما فيها من خصائص كثير، وأهم خاصية تتميز بها الحضارة الإسلامية أنها حضارة روحية، عقلية، مادية، إنسانية، تجمع بينها. لأن الحضارات لو تأملنا في الحضارات السابقة واللاحقة سنجدها معظمها حضارة مادية فقط، يعني على التقدم المدني أو المادية أو الحضارة التكنولوجية مثلا زي ما في العصر. أهم ما يعني مصادر وخصائص الحضارة، أو سنتكلم عن 3 نقاط بالإيجاز لأن الوقت يعني ليس بكثير. مصدر وخصائص الحضارة الإسلامية. ثانيا، أثر وتأثر الحضارة الإسلامية بالحضارات الإنسانية الأخرى. ثالثا، تعرض الحضارة الإسلامية للتشويه. أهم ما يميز الحضارة الإنسانية أن مصدرها هو القرآن الكريم، ويعد القرآن الكريم الكتاب السماوي المنزل على خاتم الأنبياء محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
صلى الله عليه
فالقرآن
وسلم
يرسم للإنسان طريق حياته ويكرمه على سائر الخلق، فهو مستخلف في الأرض لعمارتها، في الأموال لنمائها، وفي والأمين على الدين يهتدي به البشر ويدعو إلى الخير. وهذا كلام منزه من عند الله ولا فيه جدال، وأهدى ملايين البشر القيم الأخلاقية النبيلة. أيضا من أهم ما تتميز به الحضارة الإسلامية السنة النبوية. لقد علم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أصحابه أو صحابته تعاليم الإسلام، فكانت تفاصيل وأقوال من عند الرسول، وهي من عند الله سبحانه وتعالى، فأخذ عمن أسلم من غير العرب وحتى عمن لم يسلم وتعايشوا مع أهل الإسلام، فاقتبس المسلمون من غيرهم مجالات واسعة ومن القرآن. والرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم سنته كانت هدي للبشرية كلها سواء للمسلمين أو غير المسلمين. هذه أيضا نقطة ثانية أو تتميز بها الحضارة الإسلامية، إنها قائمة على السنة النبوية. أيضا هناك المصادر المكتوبة. الحضارة الإسلامية قامت كما قلنا على القرآن والسنة، وما كتبه المسلمون أو غير المسلمين، ورجعت هذه إلى المصادر السابقة، وأخذ المسلمين أو المسلمون من الحضارة السابقة ما يتناسب مع الدين ولا يختلف. نعم.
أريد أن أترجم أولا لو سمحتم.
نعم. أوكي.
نعم سأترجم أولا. نعم. Beliau adalah Muhammad Profesor Dr. Sawi Abdurrahim Beliau sebagai mantan dekan Fakultas Sastra Universitas Kanal Suez dan beliau juga sebagai profesor filsafat Universitas BNH dan sebagai koordinator hubungan internasional untuk negara-negara Asia Timur. Di awal beliau mengucapkan terima kasih atas undangan yaitu kepada Ustadz Fahmi yang beliau mengundang secara khusus dan beliau sangat berbahagia atas kehadiran di konferensi ini. Yang ingin beliau sampaikan tentang judul yaitu tentang peran Islam dalam membangun peradaban yang besar dan mulia. Beliau sampaikan banyak peradaban manusia yang sebelumnya. Antara lain adalah peradaban yang ada di Sabah, kemudian Mesopotamia dan sebagainya. Hanya saja peradaban-peradaban yang lalu itu merupakan peradaban yang sifatnya materialistis, walaupun ada juga peradaban yang dibangun berdasarkan intelektual. Tetapi datangnya Islam itu membangun peradaban yang sangat luar biasa, karena Islam memiliki ciri-ciri khas. Beliau akan menyampaikan pada kesempatan ini adalah 3 bagian saja. Yang pertama adalah terkait dengan sumber dan karakter peradaban Islam. Yang kedua, beliau akan sampaikan dampak dan pengaruh. Beliau menyampaikan tentang sumber-sumber peradaban Islam, yaitu yang pertama Al-Quran. Al-Quran itu bukan hanya menjadi petunjuk bagi kaum muslimin, tapi juga petunjuk bagi manusia, dan karena di dalamnya itu banyak prinsip-prinsip yang bisa membangun peradaban manusia dan bermanfaat untuk seluruh manusia. Yang kedua adalah sunnah nabawiyah. Kita ketahui sunnah nabawiyah ini itu juga merupakan wahyu, karena wahyu dan Rasulullah SAW dari sunnah nabawiyah ini itu memberikan penjelasan dari prinsip-prinsip Al-Quran sehingga peradaban manusia lebih baik. Dan yang ketiga yang beliau sampaikan adalah terkait dengan bahwa sumber ketiga peradaban Islam terkait dengan adanya manuskrip-manuskrip yang sudah ditulis oleh peradaban yang telah lalu. Nah, tafadhal ya Maulana antastamira.
الو خلاص يا دكتور ابدا الو الو
تفضل أن تستمر يا
اتكلم
نعم تكلم.
نعم شكرا رأي شيء آخر يعني تتميز به الحضارة الإسلامية وهي المصادر الأثرية. نحن عندما يعني الإسلام جاء منذ 1400 أكثر من 1400 عام أو 1400 وكذا و40 عاما، وما زالت المصادر الأثرية موجودة في كل معظم بلدان العالم، في السعودية، في دول الخليج، في أندونيسيا، في ماليزيا، في مصر، الجوامع، الجامعات، كل هذا آثار مكتوبة وقلاع ومساجد وعمولات وطراز وصناعة أسلحة، كل هذا تركته الحضارة الإسلامية. فهذا يعني يدل على أن الحضارة الإسلامية يعني أثرها موجود في كل مكان. وعندما ذهبت إلى أندونيسيا شاهدت الكثير من الحضارة الإسلامية في أندونيسيا. أيضا المساجد في يعني كثير من المسجد الأقصى، المسجد النبوي، الحرمين في مصر، مسجد الحسين والسيدة زينب، وفي يعني وحتى مثلا بعض الجامعات مثل جامعة الأزهر وجامعات في تونس، وكلها تعتبر من آثار الحضارة الإسلامية. أيضا من أهم ما يميز الحضارة الإسلامية أن الإسلام دعا أو الحضارة دعت إلى الترابط بين أفراد المجتمع. نحن نشاهد الحضارة الغربية الآن تفصل، يعني كل الحضارة الغربية المعاصرة هي هدفها الفصل بين الأوطان أو بين الشعوب أو بين الجنسيات أو بين الديانات. أما الحضارة الإسلامية أو تدعو جميع الأفراد المجتمع وعلى مستوى بربه وبنفسه وبالعلاقات الأسرية وعلاقات المجتمع. يعني تدعو إلى احترام الأب، الابن الأب، الأبناء للآباء والصغار للكبار، وترابط المجتمع واحترام الرجال والنساء وهكذا. أيضا لحظة، من ضمن أيضا تتميز الحضارة الجمع بين علوم الدين والدنيا. الحضارة الإسلامية تجمع بين، يعني ليس يعني بعض يعني الأفراد وبعض تركز في الدين، يعني الدين فقط لا. وعندما دخل الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم إحدى المساجد ولقى أحد المسلمين يجلس في المسجد على يعني ليل نهار، فسأله قال من يعني يعمل لك الطعام أو يصرف عليك أو كده؟ قال له أخي. قال له أخيك أفضل منك، لأن أخيه يعمل في خارج المسجد ويصلي، أما هو يعتكف في المسجد للعبادة فقط. فالعبادة فقط الدين نهى عنها، لكن لأنها لازم الإنسان يعيش الدنيا والدين، يعيش الحياة الآخرة وحياة الحالية. فهنا جمع بين العلوم أو الدين والدنيا. فالإسلام دين عالمي يحض على طلب العلم وعمارة الأرض. أيضا من المصادر وأهم المصادر في الحضارة الإسلامية ويميزها الالتزام بالقيم والخلق الحسن. يعني نشاهد معظم، يعني يعجبني جدا الشباب الاندونيسي والمواطن الاندونيسي وغيرهما من المصريين، وكلهم الاحترام والاحترام الصغير للكبير ومنع الكذب ومنع النصب ومنع التحايل. كل هذه اخلاق وقيم فرضها الدين الاسلامي على كل انسان، ليس المسلمين فقط ولكنها يلتزم بها الجميع. ثم تجاوزت ذلك إلى التعامل الحسن مع كل المخالفين والمعارضين، يعني برضه لو في معارضة نحترم أيضا بعض. الأساس الحضارة الإسلامية في الإسلام روحي ومعنوي، وكما قلت فهي حضارة متميزة عن الحضارات الأخرى، ولذلك هي يعني برغم أن مر عليها أكثر من 1000 عام إلا أنها ناهضة ومتجددة. أترك لك عشان تترجم يا أستاذ. ألو؟
beliau, nah,
ترجمة؟
syukran laka.
ترجمة عشان
نعم.
أبدأ نعم عشان أبدأ
نعم.
ثانية.
Nah,
نعم.
setelah
اتفضل.
beliau memberikan penjelasan kepada kita tentang sumber dari peradaban Islam yaitu Al-Quran dan Sunnah, beliau juga menjelaskan kepada kita yaitu ada sumber-sumber tertulis seperti yang tadi disampaikan, dan yang keempat adalah bahwa ada peninggalan-peninggalan yang baik di Malaysia, di Indonesia, di Mesir, di Saudi Arabia, antara lain bisa berupa bangunan-bangunan seperti masjid, kemudian berbagai bangunan tersebut memiliki ciri-ciri khas ya dari sisi arsitekturnya. Kemudian ada karakteristik yang kelima, bahwa di dalam peradaban Islam berbeda dengan peradaban yang sebelumnya. Peradaban Islam itu ada keterkaitan antara individu dengan masyarakat. Di dalam peradaban Islam ada saling menghormati, orang tua menyayangi anak-anak muda menghormati orang tua. Demikian itu adalah ciri peradaban di dalam Islam. Kemudian selain itu juga ada ciri yang keenam, bahwa di dalam peradaban Islam itu tidak dibedakan antara ilmu agama dan ilmu-ilmu dunia. Bahkan Rasulullah SAW atau juga masa sahabat pada waktu itu, ketika ada seseorang yang sholat di masjid, tapi kemudian ketika ditanya siapa yang memberikan nafkah ataupun makan, maka dia katakan saudaranya, maka beliau ditegur kalau itu lelaki, karena di dalam Islam tidak dipisahkan antara kewajiban agama dan kewajiban dunia. Ya, di sini adalah ciri khas dari peradaban Islam yang keenam. Kemudian terakhir beliau menjelaskan bahwa dalam peradaban Islam itu ada penggabungan antara ilmu agama, dan kemudian pada yang ketujuh beliau juga menjelaskan kepada kita bahwa ada nilai-nilai yang menjadi ciri khas, ya, nilai-nilai akhlak, nilai-nilai kemuliaan itu dibangun, dan itu tidak ada dalam peradaban-peradaban yang lain. Ini beliau sampaikan antara lain bahwa di dalam peradaban Islam merupakan gabungan materialisme, gabungan spiritualisme, gabungan kemanusiaan, dan gabungan dari intelektual. Lau samahtum ya Maulana an tastamira.
الو
Naam, fadhal ya Maulana.
انتهيت
Intahaitu.
لحظه نعم سنتكلم أين الآن عن أثر وتأثر الحضارة الإسلامية بالحضارات الإنسانية. نحن نعرف أن الإسلام عندما جاء في القرن السادس الميلادي كان هناك حضارة سابقة عليه كما ذكرت سابقا، مثل الحضارة المصرية والبابلية والإغريقية والرومانية والصينية. فالإسلام لم يرفض هذه الحضارات كلها ولم يأخذها كلها، فأخذ منها ما يتناسب مع الإسلام، سواء في الماديات أو في المعنويات أو في الروحانيات، فاستفاد. وأنا كأستاذ فلسفة إسلامية كنت يعني نجد لو نظرنا سنجد أن الكندي والفارابي وابن سبأ وابن مسكوي وكل علماء المسلمين استفادوا من الحضارة الإغريقية والحضارة الآشورية والبابلية والفارسية، ونقلوا عن الفلاسفة وعن أصحاب الحضارة ما يتناسب مع الإسلام. ولم ينهي الإسلام التأثر بما يجب أن يكون في الحضارات السابقة، ولذلك نهضت. لماذا؟ لأنها لم تبدأ من الصفر، بدأت على ركام الحضارات السابقة وما يستجد من خلال الشعائر الإسلامية. فعلى سبيل المثال لا تفرق من الهمجية إلى أساليبه التي تعلمها بالوراثة الآلية لصنع الكساء وطهو الغذاء، وهنا ظهر الإسلام. وكان دور علماء المسلمين أنه أحيا هذه الحضارات السابقة، ونشأت الحضارة الإسلامية في الرقعة الوسطى. طبعا نحن نعرف الجزيرة العربية، ومن ضمن ما يميز الحضارة الإسلامية أيضا أنها تنتشر في معظم أرجاء العالم. 3 قارات انتشرت فيها: آسيا بمشتملاتها من باكستان إلى الصين إلى أندونيسيا، إلى الصين إلى أندونيسيا إلى ماليزيا إلى الهند. يعني الهند فيها أكثر ناس مسلمين، وأندونيسيا وماليزيا وكل هؤلاء، إلى طبعا الجزيرة العربية، برغم أن الإسلام ظهر في السعودية في شبه الجزيرة العربية. طبعا مصر وتونس وليبيا والجزائر والمغرب حتى بلاد الأندلس في الغرب. هذا يعني انتشر الإسلام في جميع أرجاء العالم، لم يختص. يعني إذا نظرنا للحضارة المصرية القديمة نجدها كانت مركزة في مصر، الحضارة الإغريقية مركزة في اليونان، الحضارة الصينية تنسب إلى، لكن الحضارة كلمة إسلامية حضارة عالمية فعلا. يعني هذا ما تتميز به. وطبعا كمان يعني هي ليست فقط كماديات بل روحانيات. أنا يعني كثير من يعني عندما ذهبت إلى الصين وأذهب إلى كثير من الدول أجد أن حتى غير المسلمين يعتنقون بعض المبادئ والقيم الإسلامية برغم أنهم غير مسلمين. هذا ما يميز الحضارة الإسلامية. كان أول وأكبر أثر للحضارة الإسلامية في الحضارة السابقة لها وأن جمعت وتواصلت بين كل الحضارات السابقة، ولم تهدم الحضارة الإسلامية شيئا كان قائما يوما ما. يعني لم تهدم مثلا معابد في مصر ولا في السعودية ولا في أي دولة كانت لها آثار سابقة على الإسلام لم تعترض عليها ومنذ القرن السادس الميلاد إلى القرن العشرين لم ينشأ في العالم أثر جديد يرجع إلى الحضارة الإسلامية من قريب والجنوب. أيضا الحضارات الأخرى، يعني الحضارة الغربية الحديثة، يعني برغم أن أنا أختلف فيها لأنها حضارة يغلب عليها الطابع المادي فقط، ليس فيها معنوي ولا روحاني، إلا أنها في المادية استفادت من المسلمين من الحضارة الإسلامية استفادة كبيرة. لم تصل الحضارة إلى أمة شرقية أو غربية ثم تركتها بغير أثر محدود، يعني كله تأثر بها. حتى نحن عندنا في مصر المستشرقين معظمهم عندما رجعوا كتبوا كتب عن الحضارة الإسلامية وفيها ما يميزها وهكذا. أثر أيضا الإسلام في من دونوا به معجزة لا نظير لها بين معجزات التاريخ. تلك المميزات ترجع إلى العقيدة الإسلامية السمح المتسامحة. كل هذا يدعم الحضارة الإسلامية. نعم. أتركك للترجمة. نعم تفضل.
قال لي لسنا لأن الوقت قد انتهينا.
طيب.
الوقت هكذا حتى هنا نقطة الأخيرة. نعم سأترجم يا مولانا.
أترجم ولا أكمل؟
سأترجم الآن.
طيب تفضل. وأنا سأختصر النقطة الأخيرة بسرعة. تفضل. تفضل.
نعم. Yang kedua ini, Profesor menjelaskan kepada kita tentang dampak dan juga pengaruh peradaban Islam ke berbagai wilayah atau negara-negara. Bahwa beliau menyampaikan kalau peradaban-peradaban yang lalu seperti peradaban Cina, peradaban Mesir, peradaban Romawi, Mesopotamia itu bersifat lokal, berbeda dengan peradaban Islam. Peradaban Islam bersifat universal karena dia memiliki karakter-karakter yang 7 tadi, yaitu bersumberkan Al-Quran, bersumberkan dari Sunnah Nabawiyah, bersumberkan pada manuskrip-manuskrip yang lalu, kemudian ada berupa peninggalan arkeologi. Kemudian Islam itu memiliki karakteristik bahwa dia tidak membedakan antara materi dengan spiritual, antara agama dengan intelektual, sehingga itu bisa berpengaruh ke berbagai negara, ke Mesir, ke Pakistan, bahkan ke Eropa gitu. Jadi inilah pengaruh Islam, karena memang bangunan awal dari peradaban itu adalah akidah Islam yang itu merupakan akidah yang bersifat fitriyah, selain juga akidah yang sifatnya intelektual. Lalu sama itu nuktatul akhirah ya Maulana.
حاضر دقيقة. ثالثا برغم أن الحضارة الإسلامية لها مكانتها وكما ذكرنا ومميزاتها، إلا أنها لا تخلو من الهجوم والتشويه. فرغم مكانتها وحضارتها لأنها هجمت كثير في يعني واتهمت بالتخلف والرجعية والجمود والهمجية، وهذا يرجع لعدة أسباب يعني الوقت لا يسمح بها، ولكني أنا ألخصه في عبارات بسيطة قليلة. أن هذا يرجع إلى ضعف فينا كمسلمين. نحن أهملنا إبراز الحقيقة الحضارة الإسلامية في كل مكان، وأنا أعني هنا من الشرق إلى الغرب، أندونيسيا، ماليزيا. يعني أنا عندما ذهبت إلى أندونيسيا وجدت هناك فعلا حرص على الحضارة الإسلامية، وكنت فخور بها. في بعض الدول بعض الأفراد في بعض الدول تسيء للحضارة الإسلامية، وخاصة عندما يسافروا إلى الغرب يعتنقوا المبادئ الغربية، فهذا يشوه الإسلام. طبعا ديت احنا محتاجين لها إلا يعني نقطة. يعني السؤال بتاع المهم في الأخير، السؤال المهم الذي يتردد في أذهان الناس، وإذا كنا قد وصلنا إلى هذا الحالة الباهرة من التقدم الرقي، فلماذا وصلنا إلى وضعنا الحالي من الأزمات والمشاكل وانت عارفين طبعا كله لا يخفى على احد المشاكل بين المسلمين، وهذا طبعا من وجهة نظري هي يعني بسبب يعني الفكر الاسلوب الصهيوني. ولو قرأنا برتقالات آل صهيون سنجد انها لها دور كبير جدا. اتمنى من كل مسلم يقرأ برتقالات آل صهيون، سيجد فيها من الاسباب الكثيرة التي خلقت مشاكل بين المسلمين واضعفت حال المسلمين الان. طبعا المسلمين كانوا في السابق اقوياء، الان اصبحوا ضعفاء. ان المسلمين تركوا اسباب قوتهم واهملوا القران والسنه بما فيها من قوانين محكمه وتشريعات. اخذنا القوانين الغربيه في معظم احوالنا، فهذا طبعا لا تخلي عن الحضاره الاسلاميه. وارسلنا ابنائنا الى الغرب وعادوا بافكار الغرب. نستخلص طبعا الحضاره الاسلاميه حضاره تستمد وجودها وبقائها من قوتها ومن من الوحي الاسلامي. حضاره الاسلاميه لا تقاس بالتقدم العلمي والصناعي والالي الا بمقدار ما يكون ذلك التعبير عن نيات انسانيه. لا يلزم من وجود الرقي المادي في بيئه معينه وجود حضاره انسانيه، اذ قد يعيش فرد في بيئه راقيه ماديه ولكنه هو نفسه. يعني احنا لو قارنا بين الحضاره الغربيه نجدها حضاره ماديه، لكن الحضاره الاسلاميه حضاره روحانيه معنويه انسانيه ماديه ايضا. الخاتمه ادعو يعني لنا كلنا ان يعني نلتزم بما قال الله وقال الرسول ونحترم ديننا ونلتزم به امام الجميع، سيحترمنا الكل. واكرر شكري لكم جميعا.
Nah, syukur laka ya Maulana. Beliau di akhir karena panitia membatasi waktu untuk beliau, jadi beliau rangkum bahwa kita harus yakin bahwa dengan peradaban Islam ini, kalau kita dalam kondisi sekarang dalam kondisi lemah, maka kita harus kembali kepada bagaimana peradaban itu dibangun. Maka kita harus kembali membuka Al-Quran, membuka Sunnah Rasulullah, dan juga berbagai hal yang sudah dilakukan oleh kaum muslimin sejak dulu. Oleh karena itu, kita sekali lagi, kalau ingin peradaban Islam kembali bangkit, maka bangunlah dengan Quran dan Sunnah tersebut. Sebagaimana di akhir beliau sampaikan, dalamilah Quran dan Sunnah itu dan jadikan pilar-pilar untuk membangun peradaban Islam ke depan. Hakada demikian, syukran kasihan ya Maulana. Nah, tatim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
شكرا يا أستاذ. وأريد أن أقول كلمة واحدة، أن الدين المعاملة، الدين المعاملة، والدين الإسلامي معاملة، بمعنى أن احنا يعني ليس فقط نحفظ القرآن أو نصلي فقط، لكن نتعامل بما قال الله وقال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. وأكرر شكري لكم جميعا ونلتقي.
Nah, beliau sampaikan bahwa agama ini bukan hanya untuk dihafal, tetapi agama ini untuk diamalkan. Karena dengan diamalkan ini datanglah keberkahan untuk kita semua. Demikian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Syukran ya Maulana. Alhamdulillah. We are going forward to the next sessions. And we have our fourth speaker. He is from United States of America. He is Dr. Abdul Rafai, based in Chicago, USA. And he is expert in medicine, lower extremity surgeon, specializing in deformity correction surgery. So he has a topic for today, creating quality, safe, affordable, and independent health system. So how are you, Dr. Abdul Rafai?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So for your information, all of you participants today, after Dr. Abdul Rafai, we have a coffee break time for 15 minutes. So, and I also have the information from the committees. If Dr. Abdul Rafai cannot go with us until the end of this event because he has another meeting important. Okay, so Dr. Abdul Rafai, the floor is yours, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan for inviting me. Brothers, can you hear me well? Just want to confirm this. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على الإمام الهدى والمتقين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Jazakallahu khairan for organizing this conference and inviting me. Inshallah, this becomes part of our hasanat, and inshallah, it stands heavy on our scales on Yawm al-Akhirah. The committee assigned a topic related to healthcare for me, and I want to begin with discussing this from understanding the current models that we have of healthcare, and then kind of explaining how Islam essentially organizes them in a different perspective altogether. Over the past several years, especially due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the healthcare systems have come under significant scrutiny, both in the Western world and in the Muslim world as well. Essentially, there are two models of healthcare systems that are propagated. One is a government-sponsored healthcare system, and the second one is private insurance companies. Now, what we see in both these models, whether they are in the West or in the Muslim world, the healthcare system is considered a privilege. The healthcare industry, the healthcare itself is considered a privilege and not a basic right. Especially here in the United States, healthcare is a for-profit industry. Insurance companies and big pharmaceutical companies, multinational companies, and they have significant lobbying power within the halls of government institutions to sway legislation in favor of maximizing their profits. And unfortunately, this becomes essentially turns out to be at the expense of people's health. Now, for example, pharmaceutical industry in the United States alone is a $1.4 trillion industry, a huge industry. And especially over the past few years, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, what we have seen as that big pharma companies, including Pfizer, Moderna, BioNTech, etc., these companies made a total record profit of about $90 billion. And that was just profits within the last few years. So you can see how much this money sort of drives healthcare. To give an example, just to illustrate how things work in the United States, because a lot of the times there is a discussion of how the US healthcare system sort of works and how some countries in the Muslim world try to kind of copy this, right? So here in the United States, there's a government-funded program called Medicare or Medicaid. And then the second aspect of how this works is there's private insurance companies that provide health insurance to people. Now, even what they call the so-called government-sponsored health insurance or Medicare or Medicaid, you don't qualify for that right away. I mean, so you have to reach 65 and above to actually qualify for what is considered government healthcare. But in essence, that's not really government healthcare. What happens is that throughout your career, throughout your working ages, you actually fund your own Medicare. So you are essentially taxed on a regular basis to fund the so-called government program. And with private insurance, you have to pay premiums. You have to pay for this. You have to buy this insurance and pay them on a weekly or bi-weekly way. And at times it is actually taken away from your income, taken away from your paycheck that you earn on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And despite all of this, you still end up paying what they call co-pays to the doctors that you visit. So if you go see any doctor, any physician, despite paying all the premiums on a regular basis, you still have to end up pay a certain amount to the doctors, the clinics, etc. And above that, you still have to pay a certain percentage of the medical cost. So at the end of the day, what happens here, especially in the United States, medical cost, healthcare cost has become one of the biggest factors that leads people into debt and bankruptcy. Now, from this, we see that both these models, what they called government-sponsored private insurance, healthcare is not free. You know, it is not free. It is not a basic right, and it is a for-profit industry that in essence trades with human health and life. Having said this, now looking at Islam, under Islam, the healthcare is viewed from a completely different perspective. You know, in Islam, it is considered healthcare is considered a basic right of a human being. It is a basic right that needs to be met. So the state is responsible for providing that. The healthcare system, and this is the difference between how capitalism and the secular liberal philosophies that govern current world order, whether here in the West or even in the Muslim land. This is completely different than the current systems where healthcare is a for-profit industry. So the way we look at it, the way Islam looks at it, the way the Sharia looks at it is different. That it is there as a basic right, and it is the responsibility of the state of the Sharia to take care of the human beings from all aspects of their being. So that means it needs to take care of their mind, their body, and even their spirit. Even their spiritual aspect is considered into this. And you will see that, especially what we see in the West. There is a lot of mental issues, a lot of psychological issues, and all of that stems from a lack of spiritual perspective, a lack of connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hence the healthcare system in essence is treating everything, the mind, the body, and the spirit. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, and just to give an evidence of what the healthcare should be and how Islam looks at it. Rasul says that each of you is a guardian, and he is responsible for those whom he is in charge of. So the ruler, the Khalifa, the leader of the Muslims, he is a guardian and is responsible for his subjects. So this is a caretaker position that the government, the rulers have to be of that nature, that they are essentially serving or caring for the population, for the citizens. And this is their responsibility. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was in Medina, he was given a doctor as a gift, and this doctor was given to him as a gift. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not use this doctor exclusively for himself. Rather, he assigned it to the people. Rather, he assigned it to the Muslims in general. And from this, we learn that healthcare is an interest of the Muslims that needs to be met. It is not privatized. It is not controlled. It is not privatized to only specific companies or individuals, etc. Now it is a responsibility of the Islamic State. It's a responsibility of the Sharia, of the Khalifa to take care of the affairs of the Muslims. And healthcare hence is considered a right, and it is free to access. Now, just to give a bit of a historical perspective, try and hold this in. We see that historically under the Islamic State, under the Khilafah state, we had state-of-the-art facilities in major cities across the Muslim world, whether it was in Baghdad, in Cairo, in Damascus, Jerusalem, all the way in Spain, in Cordoba, Granada, and so on. one of the first organized hospitals that were built was in the Muslim world, was in Cairo, and that was established in 1872. And it treated people of, whether they're Muslims or Kafir, free of charge healthcare. You know, it was state-of-the-art facilities where there were different bathhouses, it had a library, it had a mental illness wing. People were, the idea of changing your clothes and getting into hospital clothes was developed there in these hospitals. And this is, of course, way advanced than whatever was there in the time. So these were highly advanced institutions. Another example, in Baghdad alone, there were about 60 hospitals with inpatient and outpatient departments and over about 1,000 physicians serving the population. So you can take many examples like this. And one more example that I want to emphasize here is that the public hospitals, for example, in Cairo, that was established in 1883, was called Bimaristan Mansouri Hospital. It accommodated about 8,000 patients. And you can see that even in today's standards, here in the United States, for example, you don't have hospitals of this magnitude. So if you have a hospital that is serving 8,000 patients, and you had at the time, you had two attendants serving each patient, taking care of each patient. Nowadays, even as an example, you don't have two nurses taking care of one patient. It's almost impossible to do that. So there was significant funding, as you can see just by these numbers, that you have two attendants, two nurses attending to each patient, and it was a teaching hospital. The concept of teaching hospitals is not something just new within the Western civilization, but it is something that took place way ahead way back in the Muslim lands, where the doctors that were under training would get their licenses to become licensed physicians. And again, this is long before the West even has something like this. So just to end, and to give a kind of a summary of what the Islamic system is able to produce, and what we can see from our historical perspective. And I'll give you a quote from a person called Gomar, who was a scholar within Napoleon's French campaign to conquer Egypt. And he wrote and he described the health services that were present at a particular hospital that was almost 600 years old, right? And he says, quote, "All sick people used to go to the Bimaristan, which is the hospital, poor and rich, without distinction. Doctors were hired from everywhere in the East, and they were well paid. There was a pharmacy stocked with medicine and instrumentations. 2 nursing personnel were serving every patient. Those with psychological disorders were isolated in separate sections and were taken care of. They were entertained by telling stories and among other things. And those who recovered from either a physical or a psychological illness would spend time in the rehabilitation section. So when discharged, each patient would be given 5 pieces of gold, so the patient would not need to work as soon as he or she left the hospital," end quote. So you can see, even the ones who were conquering the Muslims, they realized how significantly beneficial, how significantly high, there was a huge high standard of healthcare that was provided in the Muslim countries. Now, going to our current times, now how do we go back to this? How do we implement an affordable healthcare system, state of the class, first class healthcare system in the Muslim countries? Number one is with the Islam, the perspective has to change. That the Islamic views this provision of healthcare for all of its citizens, whether Muslim or non-Muslims, from a human perspective. And that is quite significant, that we look at healthcare, treating sickness and disease and providing for the people from a human perspective, and not from a economic perspective. Typically, the discussion in the West and also in the Muslim countries is that the health industry, the healthcare, is a economic question. So we eliminate that. We don't look at it from an economic perspective. We look at it from a human perspective. And of course, the cost does play a factor, but it is not the foundation upon which the healthcare system is built. What this means is that the Islamic State looks to provide, good quality, adequate care for the people, so that they're not healthy just to provide for the workforce, right? They're not healthy to work as a machine outside, right? Rather, they're taken care of because it is a duty to fulfill the needs of the people in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're treated as human beings, not as numbers, economic numbers. So the Muslim countries have to sort of look into this, and even the West needs to change its perspective on how it treats human beings. So the proposed sort of policy changes that needs to be done, and I'll list them out here, is that number one, that the health systems have to be free. The healthcare has to be free to all citizens. And the policy and the mission of the health system in Islam is to treat the mind, the body, and the spirit of all of its citizens. Number two, it has to build state-of-the-art hospitals and clinics and pharmacies. And to do that, which is my point 3, is that the Baitul Mal has to allocate a certain budget for the healthcare, regardless of the economic expense. It has to provide that. That there has to be a solid budget to take care of the needs of the people, and regardless if it is a high cost or not. The issue is, even if it is a taxing expense, at the end of the day, it is about taking care of the people. And number 4, we need to invest in research and development. So that means our Muslim countries, Muslim industries have to invest in this efficiently, because you don't want to lose the intellectual capacity that we have as Muslims to develop new medicines and research and scientific studies and so forth. And unfortunately, the Muslims are lacking. Muslim states are lacking in that, because there is no direction given by the current rulers, the current systems, on this particular issue. And number 5, we have to train high quality doctors and nurses, and then compensate them properly in a financial way, so that there is no quote unquote the brain drain, right, where we lose these intellectuals to Western universities, etc. And this way you retain talent, you retain these high quality doctors and nurses, and people want to come to the Muslim world to be treated. And this was the case historically. Number 6, we have to really think about eliminating these multinational insurance companies that trade in human health. And they are a significant driving factor in increasing the cost of healthcare. And we see this, and I see this on a daily basis here in the United States, where we have to fight insurance companies to provide the care to our patients as needed. So if I want to get, let's say, an MRI, or if I want to do a surgery on somebody, I have to get pre-authorization approval from the insurance companies prior to doing anything. And this actually drives up the cost significantly. The cost in the United States is immense compared to some other countries, and the quality of care is actually not that great compared to some of the Scandinavian countries and so forth. And you will see that there's a trend here in the United States that if someone wants, let's say for example, hair transplant or plastic surgery, etc., they go to the Muslim world. Turkey is an example where they get treatment there, or if they need dental work, they end up going to Mexico because it's much cheaper there. And these insurance companies, what they've done is that they have itemized human care. So you have to get there is medical insurance, then there is dental insurance, then there is insurance for the vision, for your eyes. So eyes, teeth, and the body are separate. So this only drives up the cost, and these insurance companies have had a significant impact in the Muslim world as well. So seriously, we have to think about eliminating these multinational insurance companies that trade in human health. And this will significantly decrease the cost of care. And finally, number 7, the state, under Islam, it is allowed that it will allow certain companies to do private research, to manufacture medicine privately, and to also have private hospitals. But this again is not done within the frame. This is not done so as to have what we have today in terms of the healthcare industry that is present. Rather, this sort of allowance of private research, private people to manufacture medicine, or private hospitals is within the frame of taking care of the affairs of the people, taking care of human beings. So, and finally, inshallah, I'll end with this, and with this hadith from Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's, when the daughter of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam fell sick, he told her husband at that time, Uthman radiallahu anh, that he said to stay with her and nurse her, and to stay behind from the battle of Badr. And the Prophet ﷺ said to him, said to Uthman radiallahu anh, he said that you will have a reward and share of the booty of a man who was present at Badr. So subhanallah, the issue of of taking care of a sick person, and one of the greatest deeds of caring for the weak and caring for the sick, is one of those deeds that has immense reward. There is an honor in this, there's chivalry in this, and there is the showing of kindness to the weak and the sick, and taking care of them and looking after them. It is an honorable profession. It is an honorable duty. Whether you are a physician or a nurse, or even the one who is responsible for the health department within a Muslim state, it is an honorable position, and there is immense reward. And inshallah, this is something that will weigh heavy on our scales if we as an ummah, we as a nation that cares for human life, build a healthcare system with that reflection in our minds, and with that implementation of the Sharia, then inshallah we will again be of those that provide the light to the darknesses that exist in today's time. Wa akhir da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Thank you so much for Dr. Abdul Rafai. And we know you have another important meeting, so thank you so much. Jazakallahu khair. May Allah accept all your participation today and make it as good deeds and jariyah for you. And also, please say salam to your family, and may Allah bless and keep your family health and well conditions. And once again, thank you so much. Jazakallahu khair for Dr. Abdul Rafai. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, for participants today, now we have a coffee break for around 15 minutes. So in the corner for females, and also right here for a man. So thank you so much. Inshallah we will have a coffee break for 15 minutes. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will start again our event. Please be prepared attendees. Ladies and gentlemen, we will start again our event. And please be prepared. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable all speakers and all participants in International Conference of Islamic Civilization. Are you still happy until now? On this happy morning, the Prophet Nabi Muhammad SAW said, La tahkiruna minal ma'rufin say'an walau antalku ahoka biwajhin tolihin. Do not underestimate a little kindness. That is, when you meet a brother or sister, give a face full of smile. Okay, agree? Let's warm up our discussion with brilliant Islamic thought, Islamic mind, and of course, trusted speakers. The fourth speakers in this conference is Dr. Adnan Khan. As a political analyst, author, activist, tax specialist, and the founder of Geopolitics from United Kingdom. I invite Dr. Adnan to deliver his speech in 15 minutes. Time is yours. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Adnan. Yes, clearly I hear you. Please, Dr. Adnan. Thank you.
Excellent. Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum to you all. I hope you're all well. I send my salams from the UK to you all. It's 4 o'clock in the morning here, so it's pretty early for me. But alhamdulillah, I've been listening to the speeches and I thank the organizers for inviting me. Now, what I want to talk to you about is the global order, and more importantly, the changing global order. 10, 20 years ago, it was quite unthinkable that the global order would be changing. However, we are in a situation now where the global power America, its position is not what it used to be. And we have other challengers who potentially believe the global system should change. So today, brothers and sisters, what I want to talk about is what are the main global trends? What are the main challenges we face in the Muslim world? And the way forward, how can we move forward with these circumstances? So brothers and sisters, in 1989, this is a picture of the Berlin Wall. It came down. And when the Berlin Wall came down, it signaled the end of communism. 2 years later, 1991, communism collapsed. Now, this was a very unique moment in history because this event signaled that capitalism had won and communism, the challenger to capitalism, had failed. So Francis Fukuyama, the famous thinker, he said it was the end of history. The development of ideas have come to an end. Capitalism had won. So this is what, 30 years ago. However, things are very different today. 30 years later, the superiority, the arrogance from the West is disappearing. On your screen, this is a publication by the National Intelligence Estimate. The National Intelligence Estimate is all the intelligence agencies in America who regularly, every 4 to 5 years, they publish reports on the medium to long-term challenges for America. And in 2008, in the publication on the screen, they spoke about 2025. And this is how they described it. They said in 2008, the transfer of global wealth and economic power now underway from east to west is without precedent. And it's the primary factor in the decline of the United States. So everything they said after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the collapse of communism, you find in the early 2000s, this was changing.
Recording stopped.
And the main reason for this was is the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan has completely undermined America. America apparently stood for human rights. It stood for sovereignty. It stood for the rule of law. All of this America trampled over. And all of this has undermined America's position. So really, where we are today, brothers and sisters, is two poles are emerging. On the one side, you have America, who is described as democracy. And then you have on the other side, China, who is described as authoritarian. So what you usually find is people say this is a battle between authoritarianism and democracy. Who's democratic and who's authoritarian is debatable. So what this means, brothers and sisters, is everyone else in the world will have to decide, do you want to stay with the sinking ship of America? Or do you want to jump ship and join the ship of China or other powers? And this, brothers and sisters, is the main trend in the world today. It's the trend that will determine really the future. The second trend, brothers and sisters, is global power shifting from the West to the East? Now, 500 years ago, Christopher Columbus, sailing on behalf of the Spanish monarchy, they discovered the Americas when they were trying to go around the earth to China and India. And what this started was the dominance of Europe. So we know the age of imperialism started, and really for the last 500 years, the West has dominated the world. So Europe colonized the world, they discovered Australia, and they established their liberal order as a system for the world. But with the rise of the East, this is now beginning to change. Again, I want to quote from an American National Intelligence report. So in 2012, this is what the National Intelligence Estimate said about 2030. They said that the diffusion of power among countries will have a dramatic effect by 2030. So it's not long away. And what they concluded was Asia will surpass America and Europe combined in terms of global power, GDP, population, military spending, and technological investment. So in 2012, the West were already saying that their position in the world is under threat. And there's a number of reasons for this. Firstly, the Asia-Pacific region has been the fastest growing region for the past half century. So this has big implications. What are these implications? Well, firstly, the West created much of the world today. The global rules, the architecture in the world, the economic relations, and the lives of most people is affected by the system the West created. If power is shifting, this is going to affect everything. So if power moves to the East, this will affect the global economy. It will affect people's lives. So this is a major trend going forward. The other major trend, brothers and sisters, is despite the dominance of the West for 500 years, what you find today is 8 people, just 8, enough to fit on a bus. They own half of the world's wealth. So they own the same amount of wealth as 3.6 billion people. It's a very, very shocking statistics. So this is why what you're finding today is people feel in the world, even in the West, that capitalism, it only works for the few. It doesn't work for the majority. And this is the situation we see in the world today, where the majority of people in the world only consume 20% of the world's wealth, whilst 25% of the world's rich, they consume over 60% of the world's wealth. And this is why, brothers and sisters, the world's richest nation, they determine the rules of the game. So when it comes to trade, when it comes to global regulation, when it comes to intellectual property, they decide the rules of the game because they're the richest. The global system is skewed in their favor. So in summary, brothers and sisters, there are three major issues that are going to impact the global order. America's dominant position is now potentially in decline. The global power appears to now be shifting from the West to the East, and global inequality is so bad, is leading to people questioning the global system. So what does this mean for the Muslim world? What does it mean for relations in the Muslim world? Well, the first problem we have is, despite this trend, the foreign policies of the Muslim world is still dominated by the world's powers, by France, by Britain, by the US. So you find the Muslim countries are not independent. And what they do is they strengthen the hand of these foreign powers, and our rulers benefit from this by taking a lot of the wealth. So you find, for example, in Pakistan, just this week, there was a leak that America was pushing Pakistani officials to remove the previous leader, Imran Khan. Egypt, for a long time, has been America's 52nd, 53rd state in the Middle East. If it wasn't for Egypt's peace deal with the Zionist state, with Israel, Israel would never have survived in the region for this long. So you find, despite America's weakening and alternatives, the Muslim rulers are still in bed with the West. They want to go down with them. The second thing you also find, brothers and sisters, is the economic relations. The recent coup in Niger in Africa is brought to light the influence and the dominance France has over this African nation. And this is really just one example of how the West dominate the economics of our countries. So Niger is amongst the world's largest uranium producers, but most of the country has no electricity, because all this uranium goes to France and France turns it into electricity. And this is just one example. If you go through all the different Muslim countries, you have similar economic problems. The second problem we have is the dominance of the West in our country. So many of our countries have got IMF loans. And with IMF loans comes IMF and Western interference. Pakistan has taken 23 loans from the IMF, and the country is even in a worse position today. Egypt is in a far worse position today since it took IMF loans. And the IMF isn't a bank where it lends you money and you pay it back. The IMF then tells you how to run your country, how to run your economy, and how to prioritize repaying the debt. And the final problem we have in the Muslim world is the global structure of the world is based on Western ideas of capitalism and liberal values. And what you find is they impose upon the world things like human rights, respect of national boundaries, and giving people freedom. And to give an example of this, in 2018, Pakistan was told that they have to pass a transgender law if they want to get IMF money. That's the level of interference the West goes to. So you find, brothers and sisters, the economic system in the world is based upon Western ideas of free markets, free trade, of intellectual property. So what you find is our rules are not independent, and this allows foreign interference. The economic relations they have with our countries are for the benefit of the West, not the Muslims. And Muslims and Muslim nations live within a global system which was created by the West for their benefit. It wasn't created for the benefit of our countries. So finally, brothers and sisters, what can we do? What are the alternatives? Considering the Western system is being questioned, and considering the position of America, this actually presents a very good opportunity for us. The first of these is that America's dominance, as the chart shows, the top chart is foreign exchange reserves by currency, and the bottom table is global payments by currency. And as you can see, the dollar dominates both of these. So America's currency is used more around the world than it is in America. So it puts America in a very strong position. Now, this is the basis of US economic control. So what we need really is an alternative monetary system. We don't want anyone's currency to be the currency of the world. What we need is a neutral currency. And this is where we really need to go back to the gold standard, which has been standard for most of history. And it's also the standard that Islam prescribes as well. Gold and silver have been money for most of human history. People from the beginning of time have treated gold as a means of exchange. And really, up until World War II, the gold standard was the global standard. But due to the competition between nations, and because America was the last nation standing after World War II, she made her currency the currency of the world. So what you find is whenever there's an economic crisis, everybody goes to gold and silver, which shows you the confidence people have in gold and silver. So until we don't change the global monetary system, the problems in the Muslim world and the rest of the world will actually continue. The second issue is most of the world's key minerals are found in abundance, not in the West, but in the third world or in other countries. So oil, gas, uranium, all of these are in abundance across the world. But what you find is due to colonialism and competition, most of these are used by the West rather than the countries they come from. So the fact that the African countries are really poor isn't because they lack resources, it's because their political systems and the economic systems are controlled by the West. So rather than the World Trade Organization, we need a new institution where the global rules are made and which also benefit the countries that have the natural mineral resources. So really, by establishing a new organization with new sets of rules, not rules that benefit the West, not rules that benefit the one over the other, but where the third world can develop and they get a good price for their minerals, and where countries that don't have mineral wealth, they can benefit from this as well. At the moment, what you have is the World Trade Organization, which is rigged in favor of the West. The third organization we need, and what we need to replace, is international law. International law today is enshrined in the United Nations, and the United Nations is dominated by 5 permanent members. They enforce upon the world when something's illegal and something when it's not legal. So America's invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq was legal, but Russia's invasion of Ukraine is illegal. So it's always been very, very selective. And whoever enforces international
Recording
law,
in progress.
they become the global policeman. So we need to really replace international law because it contradicts sovereignty. It contradicts national sovereignty. And really what we need, and what Islam also promotes, is we recognize the sovereignty of nations. So really what we should have is a new organization which is based more on customs and based on voluntary membership, rather than laws being designed by 5 countries, which are enforced on most of the world. So 3 things we need. We need a new global currency, and Islam designates gold and silver. We need new institutions that allow access to the world's resources, and we need to replace international law with a new voluntary system. So what is our role in this? And brothers and sisters, I've got a picture up in front of you. This was the G7 meeting in 2019. And what's going on here is during the meeting, the Donald Trump administration, they put sanctions and tariffs on the German economy, on the French economy. And what I'm trying to show here is in the West, they are divided. In the West, there's little confidence now in free markets and these sort of things. So really, our role, the role of intellectuals, the role of Muslims, is people are really unhappy with the state of the world today. They're unhappy with America's cowboy tactics. They're unhappy that America enforces rules in the world but it doesn't abide by them as well. And actually what you find is America and the West is struggling to promote capitalism. If you look at countries like China, if you look at countries like Russia, they are not proposing an alternative. They would like to replace the US, but not with a new ideology or a new system. They would just like to replace it on the global Premier League. So the only people that have something different for the world is the Muslims, is the Islamic Aqidah, is the Islamic system. So this really needs to be our role today, that we actually have the alternative for the Muslim world and the non-Muslim world as well, inshallah. And I'll end there, inshallah. وَقُلِ قُلِ هَذَا وَأَسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adan Khan. A very, very interesting and evocating presentation for us to discuss further. There has been a global change. But before that, we will listen to our fifth speakers, Professor Dr. Budi Jatmiko. He is a chairman of the Association of Indonesian Private Higher Education, or APTISI. At first, he was going to be present at the venue, but because he was in Malaysia now, we will watch the video presentation. Let's see together and keep smiling. And to the committee, please can play the video.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Thank you to the International Seminar Committee, ICIC, for inviting me. My name is Muhammad Budi Jatmiko, President Indonesian Private Higher Education Association. I will submit paper on problem of Indonesia higher education, and especially in the digital age. And then we know that the spine of the Industrial Revolution 0.0, the Revolution 1.0 to 2000 years, when human still life nomadic lives. Industrial Revolution 1.0 to Industrial Revolution 2.0 takes 100 years. Industrial Revolution 2.0 to Industrial Revolution 3.0 take 100 years. The 3.0 to 4.0 Industrial Revolution also 200 years. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Thank you to the International Seminar Committee, ICIC, for inviting me. My name is Muhammad Budi Jatmiko, President Indonesian Private Higher Education Association. I will submit paper on problem of Indonesia higher education, and especially in the digital age. And then we know that the spine of the Industrial Revolution 0.0, the Revolution 1.0 to 2000 years, when human still life nomadic lives. Industrial Revolution 1.0 to Industrial Revolution 2.0 takes 100 years. Industrial Revolution 2.0 to Industrial Revolution 3.0 take 100 years. The 3.0 to 4.0 Industrial Revolution also 200 years. The 4.0 to 5.0 Industrial Revolution is estimated to take 20 years. And further, entering the Industrial Revolution 5.0 higher education is experiencing the pose problem and challenge, namely digitalization. And next, we know that the span of the Industrial Revolution 0.0, the Revolution 1.0 to 2000 years, when humans still live nomadic lives. Industrial Revolution 1.0 to Industrial Revolution 2.0 take 100 years. Industrial Revolution 2.0 to Industrial Revolution 3.0 take 100 years. The 3.0 to 4.0 Industrial Revolution also took 100 years. The 4.0 to 5.0 Industrial Revolution is estimated to take 20 years, and further, entering the Industrial Revolution 5.0 higher education is experiencing the both problem and challenge, namely digitalization. And next, develop problem of higher education in Indonesia. Number one, quality of education, curriculum not relevant to industrial needs, lack of the quality human resource, limited facility and infrastructure, lack of the scientific research and publication, limited funding, complicated bureaucracy and the regulation, issue of academic freedom, problematic of private college, regional gaps, inconsistent evaluation and accreditation, and then increasing use of the technology. Increasing use of technology, the spread of the to utilize technology in learning, there are still challenges related to internet access. That is not every distribution throughout Indonesia, and the biggest challenge is campus digitalization. And then innovation, education goes to digital. And the coupling is detachment or not continuous of past or current business or a change in form from the past that has metamorphosis, not decoupling is a new form breaking with the past. 2 minutes video.
Bisnis ke depan itu decoupling bisnis masa lampau atau bisnis masa ini. Decoupling adalah keterlepasan atau bukan merupakan kelanjutan bisnis masa lalu atau saat ini, atau perubahan bentuk dari masa lalu yang bermetamorfosis. Bukan, decoupling itu bentuk baru, putus dengan masa lalu. Bisnis ke depan, bisnisnya bentukan baru dan banyak. Dalam 15 tahun ke depan ada banyak bisnis yang tumbuh di mana saat ini model bisnis tersebut belum ada. Bahkan ada yang memprediksi di tahun 2030 ada 40% jenis bisnis baru di masa itu yang saat ini tidak dikenal sama sekali. Bahkan TV dianggap bisnis zaman dinosaurus. Anak yang lahir di tahun 2030 ke atas tidak kenal TV. Kita beri ilustrasi. Net TV modalnya triliunan dengan penonton per hari diperkirakan 1 juta pemirsa. Bandingkan dengan Raffi Gigi di YouTube yang per hari penontonnya 5 juta pemirsa. Modalnya tidak lebih 1 miliar. Apa nggak bubrah itu dunia TV ke depannya? Bayangkan, ditambah lagi kalau 5G sudah mulai dipasarkan di dunia seperti saat ini. Tahun 2021 diperkirakan 50% gadget dunia adalah 5G, di mana speednya 10 kali lebih cepat dari 4G. 5G berbasis satelit bisa mengcover luas area yang tidak ada blank spotnya di mana-mana dan cepat. Bisa-bisa Telkom dan Telkomsel serta sejenisnya di tahun 2022 ke atas tinggal separuh omsetnya karena kita pakai 5G milik negara lain yang lebih murah. Maka YouTuber menjadi new content dan YouTube menjadi new TV. Anak-anak generasi Z yang disebut generasi digital murni ini adalah generasi hyper connected. Di tahun 2030 mereka merupakan 25% angkatan kerja dan ini punya gaya bisnis baru. Di tahun 2045 di mana Indonesia emas kala itu yaitu 100 tahun Indonesia merdeka, anak zaman Z merupakan 75% angkatan kerja produktif dan 40% generasi milenial menguasai 80% world wealth di tahun 2045. Apa yang terjadi di dunia pendidikan di Indonesia atau apa yang terjadi di dunia pendidikan secara global? Pendidikan akan jadi digital. Guru akan tinggal separuh jumlahnya di tahun 2030 dibandingkan jumlah guru saat ini. Sekolah hanya akan jadi sarana untuk keterampilan sosial, akhlak, dan project based seperti prakarya dan inovasi. Ilmu serta inovasi semua pindah ke gadget. Di platform pendidikan akan segera banyak bermunculan dan di setiap disiplin ilmu dan di setiap levelnya akan tersedia di dunia digital. Sekedar mengingat masalah banyaknya profesi yang hilang. Sekitar tahun 2010-an, pilot helikopter plus kameramen merupakan pekerjaan dari puluhan ribu orang di seluruh dunia. Saat ini menganggur semua. Alih profesi atau alih bidang. Tidak lagi ambil kamera lewat udara karena sudah tergantikan oleh drone. Drone mulai mengambil alih jatah GoFood dan supir ojol deliver di tahun 2025. Driverless car akan mengurangi jumlah sopir bis dan jumlah supir angkutan umum hingga 50% 10 tahun dari sekarang. Jadi, apa yang harus kita lakukan untuk generasi muda sekarang? Mulailah kuasai dunia digital, IT, IoT, AI, dan ciptakan sistem baru yang berhubungan dengan membuat hidup lebih mudah. Dan untuk saya pribadi, yang generasi X ini, saya harus belajar dengan generasi milenial dan generasi
conclusion, innal ladzina amanu wal ladzina hajaru wajahadu fi sabilillahi ulaika yarjuna rahmatullah walahu ghafur rahim. Indeed, those who have believed and those who have immigrated and fought in the case of Allah, that's expect to mercy of Allah, and Allah is forgiving and merciful. And then problem of higher education in the digital era. Education from elementary school to university, back to Al-Quran and As-Sunnah about Tauhidullah. And then 10 intelligence in the age disruption. Number one, technological intelligence, contextual intelligence, social emotion intelligence, generative intelligence, explorative transformation intelligence, moral intelligence, and then integrity. Plus integrity. Characters of the Prophet Muhammad. Number one, syirik, honest, public, communicative, amanah, can be trust, and intelligent. And then let's pay attention. World Economic Forum in Davos 2019, top 10 skill to be relevant in Industry 4.0, critical thinking, creativity, management, coordinative negotiation, cognitive flexibility. We are about to enter a new chapter of business collaboration and old school transformation and new school transformation. Bluebird, Baraya for old school, new school, Gojek, Grab, and hospitality, Ibis, Hotel Mulia, new school, Traveloka, Ticket.com, retail, Superindo, Carrefour, new school, Shopee, Bukalapak, Tokopedia, Matahari. And then let's look at the comparison of the business of Garuda Air, which has been for more than 40 years, with Gojek, which has been for 20 years. Okay, video for you.
Bisnis zaman now. Bisnis ala milenial memang beda dengan bisnis ala zaman kolonial generasi X. Saya ini generasi X. Bisnis saya faktanya saat ini ditabrak-tabrak oleh pebisnis milenial. Pejabat negara dan negara Indonesia saat ini regulasinya ala kolonial. Pusing dan sakit kepala dibuat oleh pebisnis milenial. Dan kita tahu hingga saat ini regulasi pemerintah sangat tidak lincah. Sangat generasi baby boomer. Sangat generasi kolonial. Bahkan tidak kenal apapun dengan perkembangan bisnis kaum milenial, anak-anak sekarang. Jadi kembali ke produk. Kaum kolonial generasi X, produknya masih berkutat di tingginya biaya emotional benefit dan tingginya biaya mutu demi fungsional benefit yang tinggi juga. Sama generasi milenial, bisnis kami didisrupt, digubrak uyah kayak padi, gabah, beras di dalam tampah. Diacak-acak. Bayangkan, Garuda Indonesia punya functional benefit yang tinggi, punya emotional benefit yang tinggi, layanan bintang 5 di udara, dan tentunya konsumen bayar mahal demi mendapatkan dua benefit tersebut. Sama bisnis milenial, bisa loh emotional benefitnya tinggi, functional benefitnya tinggi, harga murah. Bingung gak tuh? Inilah bisnis kaum milenial, bisnis digital. Gak punya aset bisnisnya, karena itu costnya murah. Gojek misalnya, Gojek itu gak punya motor, gak punya supir ojek, gak bayar BPJS, gak bayar bensin, gak bayar servis motor atau servis mobil, gak bayar BPKB, gak bayar STNK, gak bayar yang aneh-aneh aja, karena gak punya aset. Ya jadi aja biayanya turun sangat jauh. Naik ojol, motor atau mobil sekarang menjadi tren. Anda bergengsi malah kalau naik ojol. Emotional benefitnya dapat, functional benefitnya dapat, dan low cost. Itu gendeng namanya. Valuasi perusahaan Garuda nggak lebih tuh nilainya 40 triliun. Gojek 3 kali nilai Garuda, lebih dari 120 triliun. Gojek 9 tahun dibangunnya, Garuda lebih dari 40 tahun. Inilah bisnis beda generasi. Yang didisrupt ya costnya, namun produk tetap tinggi emosi benefitnya dan functional benefitnya. Sudah mulai paham? Kunci sukses itu di produk yang EB, emotional benefitnya, dan FB, functional benefitnya tinggi. Low cost, konsumen beli karena tidak pelihara aset dan menggunting mata rantai produksi. Dan ternyata sekali lagi ada satu lagi benefit yang hanya ada di Indonesia, tidak ada di belahan bumi manapun. Dan kalau Anda berhasil mengkombinasikan benefit yang ini, produk Anda akan menjadi terdepan dalam periode mulai tahun ini hingga akhir zaman. Lebay ya pernyataan saya, tapi memang ada benefit satu lagi yang jadi kunci penting produk Anda. Apa itu?
Collaboration, gotong royong. Ya. collaboration, gotong royong. And then old school transformation, the new school, sustainability collaboration in business technology, information, and innovation. The improvement of the education system support by quality and funding, support from the government result in the birth of campus transformation, which give birth to this kind of industry. A future trend and repairing academic excellence should we understand future trend or live journey into the future, knowing about the future facility, the preparation that must be made. We can prepare a suitable leader according to the not new, not now we as experiencing and the vision of quality leader and the statesmanship. The pressing is an extraordinary success capital and the without knowing the future, we can be trapped in the experience generation. And then next, let's see this service, link and match for industry, e-learning, e-library, e-tests, e-laboratory, e-service, smart campus, and automated system. Is this edutext? And then remember, well, future learning as a social activity as engine of creativity and innovation and productivity in society is going to be explored in the foreseeable future. And it is also going to present many possible alternatives for leadership and for the development of new and powerful methods of learning. Let's see this video, innovation, alternative energy based learning system in the next 2 years.
Oke, saya akan menjelaskan jadi teknologi ke depan tentang high flex ya. Jadi ke depan pembelajaran itu modelnya ada 3 ya. Tatap muka ya. Kemudian berbasis PJJ 7 dia bisa ini Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh di online ya. Tetapi teman-teman yang waktunya nggak ada atau hari itu harus bekerja, dia bisa bermain di sini. Ya. Saya kira itu yang bisa saya sampaikan. Mudah-mudahan ini menjadi inspirasi buat semua perguruan tinggi di Indonesia.
Thank you, Ikhwan and Akhwat, for your invitation to the International Islamic Seminar ICIC HILMI, International Conference of Islamic Civilization. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Here are video presentation from Professor Budi Chatmiko under title The Problem on Higher Education in Digital Era. Brother and sister, Muslim intellectual and scholars, it is time for us to get into the Q&A session, the question and answer session. And to all speakers, please be prepared. And to all participants are welcoming to ask question either orally or in writing. But it doesn't mean non-verbal doesn't mean body language, because we can understand. Okay, please raise your hand. Okay, 1 from Nisa, 2 from Nisa, and 2 from men. Brother and sister, okay. 3 ya, okay. Please mention your name before and origin of institution, maybe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please, the committee.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Zainir Hamni and I'm a student of Islamic State University of Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. And thank you so much for giving me a chance to be able to give my questions to all the speakers of today's conference. So it's so interesting and mesmerizing to listen to all the speakers' explanation about the perfect concept of Islam. But we all have no doubts that Islam is a perfect ideology and the perfect system and way of life. We all agree about that, right? But my question is, why that perfect concept of Islam haven't been implemented or haven't been applied in any country, especially Muslim countries? So what's the actual obstacles of today's Muslim, and what's the real contribution for us as an intellectual Muslim to make it happen? I mean, like nowadays we can see that people make an assumption that Islam is just a theory, and they have fear that, or they have fears to acknowledge that Islam is an ideology. So yeah, I think that's the question. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So the question is
Address to
all the speakers.
all speakers.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, the next question.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for this opportunity. The first question is addressed to Mr. Dr. Diding Suhandi from Lampung.
Okay.
Unla. The question is, we know at the end of 2022, we discovered that Papua is determined as food estate. And what do you think? Yeah, that's policy, and how the implication for agriculture landscape in Indonesia, especially. Yeah, and second is, what do you think if for the solution of land ownership, yeah, and how we utilization of the critical land or maybe unproductive land, we use crowdfunding based wakaf productive, yeah, to implement and to help small farmer maybe, or maybe a group of farmer that already existing in Indonesia mostly, yeah. And the third,
So many question.
yeah, if we fly to Lampung, yeah, if we begin to landing, yeah, it's amazing sightseeing that we get, yeah, and I think all the Lampung is very, very green, yeah. So why the position of Lampung in our productivity for our food security is very low? What happened in Lampung? Okay.
What happened in Lampung?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last, yeah. I think this is the last, yeah. From the question is to Dr. Abdurrahman As-Sawi Abdurrahman, yeah.
Okay, Professor Asawi.
Yeah. You said that Islamic civilization is the important things, yeah. And what is your opinion about Muslim marginal society, yeah, especially for refugees,
yeah.
Yeah, how the solution for them, yeah, of especially for Islamic institution or state Islamic country, and how they trying to overcome this problem. Yeah, I think we have a lot of marginal society in Muslim. So I think except we back to Al Quran, but we have to trial, or we keep going on effort in initiative, humanitarian and so on. And how about Palestine? Yeah. Okay, that's all my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Two people, but 5 questions. So I am worried it will be forgotten, and we must discuss now. One question, special question to all speaker, and one fourth question to Professor Diding. Are you ready? All speak. Okay, please.
Okay, thank you for the questions. So I will try to answer the question number 1, 2, 3, 4 from Ibu. Maybe the first question will be answered by the others. Okay, the first one about the agriculture. Yes, actually, we want to how we solve the lack of food in Indonesia currently. So actually, as you know, that the success story of food estate is not available in Indonesia. We start from, for example, in order lama, order baru, new order. They also start to find new concept how we can improve to increase the availability of food by food estate from Kalimantan now trying to move to Papua, something like that. But actually, agriculture is not depend on only the quality of soil, also depend on the microclimate, and also highly depend on the knowledge of the local farmers. That's why now actually in many countries, including in Europe and also in Japan, they map first which parts is suitable for this crop, something like that. So after mapping, then the government supports very strong to develop such kind of, we call as indication geographic of foods. So for example, coffee. Lampung Robusta coffee is very special, what we call as specialty food. Why? Because the climate, the soil, and also the knowledge of the farmer already established. So then we keep. So coffee from Lampung is must be supported by government to be sustained. Also for rice, for example. But you know, when we move to Papua, Kalimantan, they just open the soil, open the land, and after that, no improving of the knowledge of the farmer, because it's very hard to also bring the experienced farmer from Java, for example, to Papua or to Kalimantan. And also the mechanization also difficult. So that's why actually what we have to do is, yes, the government must make effort. Government has to be a leader. So that's why the concept of
food estate.
Yes, food estate must be related to the land ownerships.
Okay, that is the key point.
Yes, the second point is land ownership. So that's why also for land ownership, maybe related to the third one, your question about when you fly to Lampung, maybe
What it happened?
yes, all green, but maybe you cannot differentiate what kind of crops, right? Not paddy, not paddy. You don't know what kind of crop? Cassava and banana and palm oil and then
Palm oil.
pineapple, of course, pineapple and then all that crop is not belong to our farmers.
Okay.
That belong to the,
Limited.
yeah, the biggest plantation is almost located, two biggest plantation, sugarcane and plantation of pineapple is located in Lampung. One day I went there, then I asked to the officer if I drive inside the plantation. They said 1 day is not enough. 1 day is not enough. You drive inside the plantation. 1 day is not enough. You can imagine how big the plantation. But it's not belong to us, not belong to farmer.
Mashallah.
Mashallah. So yes, of course, if you fly to Lampung, everything is green, but not paddy. That's why.
State-owned enterprise. There is state-owned enterprise.
Yeah, yes. And then maybe the conflict of land is in Lampung is very complicated because actually our land is already given to the company, not 20 years, not 30 years, maybe 100 years.
100 years.
I don't know. But because they can occupy maybe more than 20 years. They already settle everything. And one of the owner of big plantation of sugarcane in Lampung is not Indonesian citizenship, it's Malaysian. Imagine.
Okay, Professor.
They come to Lampung not by car, not by helicopter from Malaysia directly to our country, to Lampung. There is helipad. I never use helipad.
Same too.
Okay, I think this is my answer. Hopefully, yes, it trigger that actually the wrong concept of land ownership in Lampung, maybe in Indonesia, make us lack of food, lack of everything. But in our country, we have everything we can eat, especially for Sundanese. Yeah. We just go to the
what is it?
to the plant, and then we can eat everything there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I think for my that's all my answer. Thank you.
I hope the participant can grab the point. Yeah. Okay. Next to Professor Alimuddin. Yeah. The Islamic concept, Islamic theory haven't been implemented. Yeah? What the obstacle?
Yes. Thank you very much. It's a very interesting question for us, speaker. The short answer, I will mind, why the Islamic now is concept, no majority to implementation, the Islam. Actually, how to make awareness to Ummah. Awareness to all Ummah. The Ummah, individual community, until country, the state. I need two aspect. I need two approach aspect. The first, special study or special training.
Special studies and special training.
The second, general study or
general studies.
Yes. We make, they continue I mean, every day, every week, every month, every years, how to they make concept and implementation, the unity overall. I mean, in the new perception, the new mind, the same of perception of Islam. I mean, the ideology, way of life, how to the Islam to implementation, all the level, the high level, middle level, and low level. With the unity, I mean, the make how to the implement Islam, we could life to be well versed. I think. I mean, there.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, to get the good education, a good health, a good safety. I mean, providing the, I mean, make the food security. It can do hajatul asasi. I mean, hajatul kamaliyah. You can do all the people. We can well versed. I mean, we can live by the Islamic culture. I mean, I think it's very make happy. I mean, the role of Islam in the world. The case study, for example, Indonesian majority of Muslim. Why the Muslim? I mean, it's difficult to implement Islam because any two perspective, maybe the people not understanding Islam. I mean, overall, yes. The second, maybe understand overall Islam, but they couldn't, they want to implement it, the way of the life, maybe like this. But any survey and research, just, I mean, the opinion Islam, just ibadah. I mean, they're just arkanul Islam. I mean, the salat, pray. I mean, the Baitul Hajj. I mean, Asyam wa Syahr Ramadan. Fakat only, but implementation, for example, the economy Sharia, Islamic education, and agriculture. I mean, the Islamic halal food is not. I offer the follow trend in halal food in Thailand, because majority not Muslim, but I'm Muslim there. The Bangkok, any their institution for halal was the university, Chulalongkorn University, because they hit halal food from Indonesia. I mean, there Abu bin Muhammadiyah, I mean the party Muhammadiyah, Ahmad Dahlan is one of the family. Ahmad Dahlan developed the halal food in Bangkok. I mean, maybe the ASEAN is the best institution halal in ASEAN, because many training. I mean, the halal food from Malaysia. You know, Professor Irwandi Yusuf, Irwandi, Jaswir, Irwandi Jaswir is one of lecturer and research International Islamic University Malaysia at the market training halal food. I mean, now it's Indonesian. I mean, the last year give the award from Raja Salman about the one of the best award the halal food in the world.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, Professor.
Okay.
The first obstacle is awareness.
Awareness.
And the second one is.
Okay.
And the second one, you said, or just one factor.
Yeah. Yes. I mean the awareness. The second, we must the unity. I mean,
we must unity.
unity.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
how
that's
to
the
get
point.
yes.
Thank you,
Okay, thank you.
Professor. Yes. I think you have a memorable experience in Thailand, yeah? Okay, I would you mind, Dr. Tubagus Heru, to help me? I can little bit speak Arabic.
Ya Maulana, ya Ustaz.
Maulana, I can say.
Naam.
Hello.
Naam. Hello.
Hello.
Ya Maulana al-mushtarikun huna yuhibbukum fillah.
ونحن أيضا وأنا أحبكم في الله أيضا.
نعم.
يعني
لأن
أنت
ذلك
تعرف أننا
نعم
أنا أحب
النساء نعطيكم
أندونيسيا.
سؤالان يا مولانا.
اتفضل.
نعم نعم. السؤال الأولى نحن نعتقد أن الإسلام هو الدين الشامل الكامل فكرة وطريقة، ولكن في الواقع لا تطبق في الحياة. ما المشكلة يا مولانا؟ نعم. وسؤال ثاني. نعم تفضل. الإجابة تفضل.
طيب الإسلام كما ذكرت فعلا ما ذكر أو سؤال الأخت الفاضلة التي سألت هو سؤال مهم جدا جدا، وفعلا برغم أن الإسلام شامل وكامل إلا أنه يعني لا يطبق في الواقع المعاصر. لماذا؟ هو في عدة أسباب، ليس سبب واحد. السبب الأول عدم فهمنا بعض يعني حقيقة النص القرآني أو السنة أو ما يقول الله ويقول الرسول. تعرف أن الإسلام مر عليه 1400 عام، فالمكان واللغة واللهجات بتعمل اختلاف في يعني الفهم، دي أولا. ثانيا بعض الفقهاء أو بعض علماء الدين أيضا ملتزمين بالنص الديني لا يوظفونه. يجب، هنا مشكلة كبيرة. النص الديني جاء أو نزل لتوظيفه في الواقع المعايش، ولكل زمان ولكل مكان له يعني واقعه، فلا يجب أن أنا أطبق النص الديني بحرفه دون فهم. ده أولا. وكما وأيضا يعني الدين كما يقول الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم الدين يسر لا عسر فيه، وهذا أمر يعني إذا نحن لا نفقه دين. حتى معظمنا متدين واسمه مسلم ولكنه لا يعرف شيء في الإسلام، وبعضنا يحفظ القرآن لكن لا يستطيع أن يطبق ما قال الله والقرآن. هذه أيضا يعني أسباب. الأسباب الأخرى تربية الجيل السابق، الأجيال الناشئة على المعالم الحديثة وليس على ما قال الله وقال الرسول أو خلق القرآن ودين وقيم القرآن. لم نستخدمها للأسف مع أبنائنا. هناك هذا أسباب فينا، فنجب أولا نفهم القرآن جيدا ونتعامل معه بما كان في عصر الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونفهم بعضنا، والدين سماحة ويسر وليس فيه يعني الأسباب الأخرى خارج هذا الذين بعض الشعوب التي هي ضد الإسلام تشوه ضد الإسلام لا عند المسلم وغير المسلم. فعندما يسافر بعضنا إلى دول ليس فيها مسلمين أو يتعامل يعني قد يتغير إلى رؤيتهم في التعامل وليس في الدين. هو مسلم لكن يغير لأنهم بيجذبوه إلى إيه؟ مع حضارتهم أو عاداتهم وتقاليدهم وعقائدهم أو اعتقاداتهم. فهذا أيضا مشكلة كبيرة. الآخر أن يعني في أعداء الإسلام منذ عصر الرسول حتى الآن موجودون، وكما قال يعني يمكن اليهود ضد المسلمين من ايام عبد الله بن سبأ في عصر الرسول، وحتى في مسلسل عمل قال يعني عبد الله بن سبأ ما زال حيا في عصرنا، فكره ان هو يضلل المسلمين او يضل المسلمين، ونحن مسلمون طيبون. الدين بما فيه سماحه ساعات يجعلنا نصدق الاخر. لا، طبعا اللوبي الصهيوني معروف، وعمله هو الامريكان والغرب يعني ضد طبعا هذا، وكل ما هو غير مسلم يشوه في صوره الاسلام. ما يجب علينا ان نحن لابد ان نفهم الاسلام صح، ولا نتحدث بدون فهم. الفهم الصحيح للدين ممتاز جدا جدا. يعني مثلا انا جئت الى اندونيسيا عده مرات، وكتبت كتابي الذي صدر منذ فتره عن مصر واندونيسيا مشاعر متبادله، وجدت ومن يقرا هذا الكتاب يستفيد كثيرا. ايه؟ ان الاسلام هو الموحد بيننا. يعني العلاقه نحن المسلمون الاندونيسيين في الشرق ونحن في الغرب بالنسبه لهم، بالنسبه لكم، لكن في مشاعر متبادله بيننا. انا بحثت وكاتب هذا الكلام ان سبب المشاعر المتبادله العقيده الدينيه. نحن عندما يعني في قرابه بيننا في الالتزام، حتى ابنائكم ابناء الاندونيسيين عندما الذي اراهم في الازهر بيتعاملوا يعني بما قال الله وقال الرسول في كثير من الامور. صحيح بعض التصرفات هي ليست محرمه، ولكن يعني تقاليد متشدده شويه، لكن هذه جيده. فنحن يمكن اكثر ناس ملتزمه بالاسلام انا كما شهدت، وطبعا يعني يمكن اندونيسيا ولان ذهبت اليه كثيرا، وعندنا للاسف عندنا في بعض الدول العربيه وفي مصر وفي السعوديه يشوهون صوره الاسلام، البعض وليس الاغلب. يعني بعض المشايخ اللي كانت مشهوره اتفضل.
لو سمحت.
اتفضل. ايوه.
الوقت قليل. نعم سأترجم.
اتفضل. عشان الترجمه انا اسف عشان الترجمه.
نعم. Ya,
نعم.
Profesor Sowi menjelaskan kepada kita bahwa yang pertama beliau mencintai para peserta di ICIC ini, ya.
Alhamdulillah.
Karena Allah. Dan pertanyaan yang disampaikan oleh saudari dari peserta ini sangat penting, ya. Beliau menjawab dengan dua jawaban. Pertama, masalahnya adalah masalah internal, dan kedua adalah masalah eksternal. Masalah internal adalah karena kaum muslimin banyak yang tidak memahami Islam. Ya. Kita tahu bahwa Al-Quran, As-Sunnah adalah berbahasa Arab. Ini penyebab yang pertama, internal. Yang kedua, para alim ulama ketika mereka memahami Quran dan Sunnah itu memang berbeda-beda. Ya. Kemudian yang masalah eksternal adalah kaum non-muslim, mereka berusaha memang untuk mentadlil, ya, menyesatkan pemahaman-pemahaman Islam itu sebagaimana dulu orang-orang Yahudi di masa Rasul sampai saat ini. Ya. Mungkin representannya pada waktu itu tetap ada, walaupun di Indonesia sendiri menurut beliau sudah ada ya orang-orang Indonesia yang belajar di sana, sehingga masalah-masalah perbedaan itu relatif lebih baik.
Oke.
Naam.
ايوه.
والآن السؤال الثاني يا مولانا.
نعم، انا اريد بس ان اقول في ردي ان في مشاعر او معالم متميزه بيستفيد منها المصري والاندونيسي، وانا اكتبها في هذا الكتاب. مصر واندونيسيا مشاعر متبادله. هذا صدر، ومن يقرأه يستفيد كثير من المميزات التي يتميز بها المسلم الاندونيسي والاخطاء ايضا، لان اكتب برضه بعض الاخطاء، لان لا يخلو الانسان من عدم الفهم في حاجات. فانا كتبت هذا في هذا الكتاب وعلى الواقع لأني زرت إندونيسيا عدة مرات وكتبت سلوكيات المسلم الإندونيسي وتعامله مع الآخر بالسماحة والمودة والمحبة والأخوة كما قال الله وقال الرسول. هذا يعني أريد يعني أتمنى أن يعني الجميع يقرأ هذا الكتاب وهو متوفر، وده فيه حاجات كثيرة جدا. وعلى فكرة يعني كان الدكتور في فهمي لقمان له الفضل في هذا التعامل، وهو موجود بصوره في هذا الكتاب والندوات اللي كنا نعملها مشتركة في مصر وأندونيسيا. وأريد أن يتم هذا
yakfi ya
التعامل.
Maulana, saya tarjim.
تفضل.
Jadi beliau memang dalam waktu yang singkat ini kalau ingin memahami cara yang lebih baiknya, beliau menawarkan ada satu buku yang bisa kita baca begitu. Wal'an as-su'alu tsani ya Maulana.
نعم، السؤال الثاني اللي هو ما هو الحل؟
نعم، نحن ننظر مشكلة. نعم، نحن ننظر مشكلة العقلية المسلمة في فلسطين أو أويغور أو في مكان آخر. ما العلاج في هذه المشكلة يا مولانا؟
أنا أقول المشكلة سواء عند اليغور أو في فلسطين يعني كما شاهدت بعض أو قرأت أو يعني تعاملت أحيانا بعض المسلمين اليغور، البعض وليس الكل، وبعض الفلسطينيين أساءوا للدين ولأنفسهم وسمحوا لإسرائيل باحتلالهم، ونحن أيضا أهملنا كشعوب عربية، أهملنا حقهم. فيجب أولا نفهمهم الإسلام الصحيح وندافع عنهم ونقدم الدعم لهم لرفع الظلم عنه. بالنسبة لليغور أنا أعرف جيدا، يعني الصين تتعامل مع اليغور معاملة يعني أنا شفت في الواقع وذهبت إلى هناك، لكن بعض اليغور هم الذين يسيئوا لهم وللإسلام، بعض وليس أفراد، لكن كل اليغور اللي هناك أنا تعاملت
يا
معهم.
مولانا. نعم، قال لي اللجنة لأن الوقت قليل. نعم.
نعم.
جزاك الله خيرا كثيرا على اهتمامكم أو على إجابتكم. جزاك الله يا مولانا. شكرا كثيرا. نعم.
شكرا.
السلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله.
Extraordinary answer from Professor El Sawi, and thank you to Dr. TB Heru Nugraha. Brother Adnan Khan, are you still with us? Assalamualaikum, Doctor. Dr. Adnan Khan. Okay.
Adnan Khan.
Please allow me, brother, to read the question from YouTube viewers. I will read the question. What do you think about competition between countries to become a superpower? Because we know the current position of the USA is not to be the only superpower countries. What should be the role of Muslim countries to become a superpower? Please, Doctor. Oh.
Recording stopped.
Because Dr. Adnan is left, we will going forward to other question. I have a question from YouTube, but the three people from Rijal have a chance to asking the question. Who be the first? Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Please asking shortly, Doctor.
Softly.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Softly ya, bukan softly.
Softlend. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks you so much to MC who has given me opportunity to make us question. Especially my question is for Prof. Diding.
Prof reading, okay.
A few hours ago, so Prof. Diding has explained us about the food security. The requirements of food security are availability and accessibility and stability. But maybe I would like to focus on availability. If we look at the case of Indonesia, so the agricultural land or rice land in Indonesia always decreasing, yeah, from year to year. So I think this is problem for us. And based on the information, so I know that decreasing agricultural land in Indonesia, 100 hectares, almost 100 hectares per year. Okay.
Okay, the point of question is what's happening in Lampung?
Okay. I think general in Indonesia. Okay.
Okay. In Indonesia, ya.
The solution.
Okay.
A few hours ago, you explained us too about the solution, especially from Islam. Among other things, reopening agricultural land or reviving idle land. But any other problems, like the young people now don't want to be farmers. Okay. The first question. So I think this problem is very worrying for us. What is the solution? And the second,
Maybe just two questions, okay?
Yes.
Just two, okay.
Okay, Islam has solution for this problem. All of the solution can be only overcome by the state. But what state? Yeah, according to you.
What kind of state?
What kind of state? Okay. Maybe all of us want to listen to the answer of the professor. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Denny. And then we're going forward to who is the Dr. Julian? You raise hand.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for intention. I want a question to Professor Dr. Alimuddin. Yeah. Professor, I think your presentation about paper is very interesting, and I want some question to you. The first, what is your view on destruction of the climate by technology and science? Yes, from the capitalism. And the second, but on the other hand, they claim to save the climate with either technology. And the last question, yeah. This is special because I'm Chairman Hilmi. Oh, sorry. Okay. And the last question, the conference, the term contribution of Muslim intellectual is resolving nation and global challenge. And the topic your presentation about what is a systemic solution, yes, in Islamic perspective about your presentation. Thank you for attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. That is enough? Oh, okay. One more. Do you have one question? One question, alhamdulillah. address to
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Gelar Taufik Kusumawardana.
Okay, Brother La Taufik.
Yeah. Maybe I want to make question to
Professor Alsawi. Oh no.
from England. Khan.
Ah,
Mr. Khan.
Mr. Khan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Khan.
Because
Okay.
Mr. Khan more political and ideological tendency.
Yeah. Okay, brother. Go ahead.
Yes. I think Islam is good, yeah, perfect in ideology or value system. That is no problem gitu. But how to deduction to derivat Islam or implemented to the culture and civilization? That is the problem. Yeah.
Derivative-nya ya.
Yeah. We know that we have a good history, Islamic Golden Age. Why we not to transplanted that formula to continue or connected to our history now? How to I know that every Muslim know about Islamic Golden Age, but how the characteristic and how that paradigm to applicate in this our history. I
Okay.
think only that I hope Mr. Khan
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
opinion about that.
Opinion, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, brother. I will try. Maybe your question will be sent by email because he was left. Okay, please, Professor Diding and Professor Alimuddin, to answer the question. That is
Okay,
systemic problem,
yes.
Professor.
Yes, that's okay. Thank you, Kang Denny.
Yeah.
Maybe
What a
after
kind of
this,
state, Professor. What a kind of state.
This the second one, right?
Okay,
The
second
first
one.
one I have
The first
to.
one, yeah.
Yes. The first one is about the young farmer. Actually, for paddy, or rice cultivation is not feasible anymore.
Not
in the world,
feasible.
not feasible. With the price of rice, so even in Japan, so not feasible. So if you ask, not only young, I think, yeah, no, will not be interested to be farmer, especially paddy, because not feasible. That's why in Japan, as I mentioned, they promote to us young farmer by providing many kind of support. 1 or 2 years they provide big salary, the same salary as if you enter the big company, just to be a farmer, 1 or 2 years, regardless the yield, even though you have nothing with the plants, no yield, it's fine. Just you to be a farmer 1 or 2 years, and then every month you have allowance from the government. So in this point, we make sure that to keep our food sustainability, food availability, we have an action of state, not a state of, not an action of private institution, for example, because if you act like a private institution company, your naturally you want to get profit like that. So paddy cultivation is not feasible, not profitable. So that's why government has to do this. And as I mentioned also, many of Islamic rule can be implemented to solve this problem. So what kind of state? Of course, in the world, depend on the ideology.
Yeah.
We have only three options. We want to have a capitalism-based state. So everything is not depend on the halal or haram based on Allah, but based on the is feasible or not, profitable or not, something like that. So that's why in capitalism-based state, everyone can sell everything. You know, in Japan, the most profitable industry is pornography. This is the most, not from computer-based technology, not from pornography. It's okay because yes, there's ignore about the what kind of there's not halal and haram. Or you want to develop socialism-based state or communism-based state. But us, because we believe in Allah and we believe that everything coming from Allah is the best, yeah, we receive at granted everything from Allah. So that's why, yes, the state that implement Islam only suitable, only compatible with Islamic State. So Islamic State, Daulah Khilafah, already span the historical period more than 1,400 years.
Yeah.
So in that period, the implementation of land ownership, for example, is also already stated in the history. So everyone can get the proper land for fulfill their food.
Yeah.
Domestic local production. But in this current situation, for example, I mentioned Lampung. So Lampung, maybe half of the agricultural land is not belong to the farmer again. It belong to the company. Yeah. Yes, this actually the big problem. And now we are proposing that to increase, to improve the poverty in Lampung, we have to make some big effort to reformat the land ownership, especially for productive agricultural land.
Everybody happy in Islamic State, either Muslim
Yes,
or
of course.
non-Muslim. Okay. There is Professor.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything should be like that.
Yeah.
But maybe as mentioned by Professor Adnan, the problem is not only for internal but also the external. Many company will not happy with land ownership ruling in Islamic.
Of course.
That's why if you say something about Islam, maybe some confronting coming from people who supported by the big company. So the big company will pay you if you want to say something that is maybe give them profit. But they want, yes, we want to always, I think this conference is very important to speak up that something problem in Indonesia, especially in food security, is coming from the many aspect unsuitable with Islamic rule. That is the point. Thank you.
Yeah. The business sector didn't happy because they didn't know whole of economic system, right? This is the importance of our conference today.
Yes.
Professor. Okay. We going forward to Professor Alimuddin, the systemic solution, yeah.
Yes.
Which is our Muslim intellectual or scholar can contribute national and global challenge.
It's okay.
Please.
Thank you very much to Dr. Julian to make a question to me, special question to me. Before answer your question, I want to draw about how to the capitalism system. And the two in the world, and the developing country and the developed country. Developed country, United States, United Kingdom, Europe, I mean the German, French, in the control and mastering science and technology in the world, yeah, including developing country, including Indonesia, Malaysia, Africa, and so on. It is problem because the developed country control and master technology term production. I mean they make production technology, and developing country consume. I mean they consume technology. I think that's the problem. Even though the research, for example, in Indonesia or ASEAN, 2 days ago we meet in the ASEAN Unity AUNKIA in Unhas, including we discuss about how to develop science and technology area of ASEAN. I mean, we can the same level to develop country. Any new idea? For example, because Indonesian many professor also, many expertise also. Why? I mean the low level. I mean, for example, how to produce the technology, but overall, I mean the concept of technology. This is challenges. I mean, they're our intellectual. How to solution in the future life? I think we can the focus. How to the awareness, I mean the Muslim intellectual to, I mean the focus studying and research about, for example, developed country, I mean the near here, including Japan. For example, any institution research in industry, just in campus, but industry know the institution. I mean, development research. Maybe you know because from the Japan, Indonesian, all industry, government, and academic, all their have research and development. Even though I mean they're not the unity about that. My suggestion. We must discuss, I mean, the focus how to develop science and technology, especially the intellectual Muslim, to develop. We can the same of developed country. I think we can for example, the startup, make startup. I mean the innovation of technology. For example, my research several. My research, for example, the smart farming, because my especially smart control, I mean of artificial intelligence, and also the how to the incubator baby, how to the control fuzzy logic and other aerial network. I mean the artificial intelligence. I mean we can the control environment, humidity. Oxygen and temperature. We can make science like that in the future. If you know, we can start the low level, but you can start. I mean in the future life, and also I mean 2 years ago, Indonesia is agriculture country. How to develop science and technology, for example, now I mean the focus on artificial intelligence, go to their overall area. For example, the smart farming, the drying, smart drying, I mean the pasca panen. We can even now open the smart, open the shopping by online, but we can for example learning, we can begin a learning. The second, the wildlife and the everyday, for example, the agriculture. We must the unity the way of life also the Muslim. We can start the same of concept and the same method to how to develop science and technology. I think the answer maybe the expert on the agriculture, transportation, the learning and so on. I think that's all.
Okay.
The answer.
Thank you, Professor. I guess your answer is the national countries must be united. Okay, that's the point. Okay, Muslim intellectual and scholars from all over the world, we deeply appreciate your commitment to promoting and discussing various aspects of Islamic civilization during the conference. Your insight and contribution were invaluable, and we believe that your participation has left a positive impact on our attendees. Once again, thank you very much for your dedication to the advancement of Islamic civilization and for making the conference a memorable and enriching experience for all speakers, all presenters, and all participants. See you next in the 4th ICIC HILMI Conference in 2024. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.